The searching goes on. Police in the West Midlands dig deeper into the alleged plot to kidnap and murder a British Muslim soldier. Community figures in Birmingham say that many people are shocked, scared and resentful of the raids. So what now for an area that's no stranger to terror arrests? And did the death of the first British Muslim soldier to die in Afghanistan unwittingly inspire the alleged plot? That's all to come on this Thursday, February the 1st, 2007. Hello, good morning. You're watching a special edition of the News Hour, coming to you in part at least from the Alum Rock area of Birmingham, a predominantly Asian district where many of the arrests that shocked the world were made yesterday. I'm here. Jackie Cabler is in Coventry, where the suspects are being held.
Here in the studio, we'll be looking at the day's other main stories. Air passenger duty doubles from this morning. But are our airports about to descend into chaos because of travellers who haven't paid the extra tax? Also coming up, how safe is the NHS? A new report shows that many of us are seriously concerned about patient safety. First, notice in the papers, some of the hedgehogs are not growing prickles anymore. Is winter gone, Claire?
No, it's coming back on Friday. So good news for hedgehogs, maybe. This morning, though, it's a relatively mild start to the day. We're seeing a lot of cloud and also some dampness across western parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland, down towards western parts of Wales, as well as the West Country. Where the skies have cleared overnight, you're seeing some mist and fog patches, and through the day, a little change. It's a very quiet start to February. Most of us seeing a little bit of sunshine if you live in the east. In the west, well, the cloud will come and go, and temperatures at the very best up to 14 degrees Celsius. Now it's back to John in Birmingham.
Thanks very much indeed, Claire. Yes, I'm in the Alum Rock district of Birmingham, predominantly Asian area where many of the arrests which shocked the world were made yesterday. Among those taken into custody, a young man who worked in the shop behind me, described as extremely hard-working father of two, who only left this country once, and that was to marry the woman who became his wife, and only left his shop to support Liverpool Football Club. Not the sort of man to involve himself in terrorist activity, say the locals. And as I wandered around this area last night, I have to tell you, I came across anger, I came across shock, but I also came across resentment that this area has once again been targeted by the police, as it was in 2005 and 2006, following terror alerts in other parts of the country. And people cite what happened in Forest Gate, East London, where two Muslims were arrested. One of them was shot, but no one was actually charged, as a foundation for their fears. And in the Birmingham Post, the local paper this morning, a front page picture of the man alleged to be the target of those suspects, a young Muslim soldier who served Britain with distinction in Afghanistan, one of two, it's thought, who've been targeted by that ring of suspects. And from the police today, the warning that this is just the beginning. We are merely in the foothills of a massive inquiry, said a senior police chief here in the West Midlands. Jackie Cabler is in Coventry, where the suspects are being held. Jackie, good morning to you.
Good morning, John. Yes, I'm at Chase Avenue Police Station in South Coventry, a very high security police station, made even more secure in the past 24 hours by the fact they've put police bollards on all of the roads around here, so cars can't even park anywhere near it. Now, we believe that at least some of the 9 men who were arrested yesterday are being questioned here, some at other West Midlands police stations. And under the new anti-terrorism laws, police can hold them for up to 28 days without charge, so they do have some considerable time to question them. Now, of course, they were arrested yesterday on suspicion of the commission, preparation or instigation of acts of terrorism under the Terrorism Act of 2000. And while they're being questioned here, their businesses and homes in Birmingham are still being searched. 8 homes and 4 commercial premises still under police guard and have been searched all day yesterday and through the night. So as you said, John, this is a major investigation and it's got a very long way to go yet. Back to you.
Jackie, thank you very much indeed. I'll be here throughout this morning's programme, talking amongst other things about the impact on the local community and some tension, it has to be said, here right now, as you'll well understand. But let's now catch up on the rest of the news. Here's Amanda.
John, many thanks. Good morning. Patient safety comes top of the list of complaints against the NHS. That's according to a new report by the Health Watchdog. A quarter of all complaints made every year centre on safety concerns. Well, Richard Gatesford is at Tameside General Hospital in Ashton-under-Lyne in Lancashire. Good morning, Richard.
Well, more than 100,000 people complain about their treatment on the NHS every year, and most of those complaints are dealt with locally, but some 8,000 need to be referred for independent national review by the Healthcare Commission, and the figures out today show us that some quarter of all of those complaints are about patient safety. The rest are about the level of care people have received, the cleanliness of the hospital, and perhaps the lack of information that's been passed on. Now, one of those complaints was about Joseph Holt, 83 years old when he arrived here at Tameside General Hospital, came in with a stomach complaint, and they quickly diagnosed him as having a urinary infection. But he never really got the level of care he desperately needed and died very quickly.
He had no antibiotics at all for a week, even though they'd done blood tests, and these blood tests did actually show that he had a really nasty infection. So he had no antibiotics for a week, and he did die of an infection.
Well, the Healthcare Commission upheld Carol Booth's complaint against this hospital, and the local MP is sitting on a dossier of 120 other complaints by families about poor care here at Tameside General.
Richard, many thanks. Now, air passenger duty goes up by 100% today. It means travellers will have to pay an extra £10 for a short-haul flight and £40 on long-haul. You'll still have to pay even if you bought tickets before the rise was announced back in December. The number of schools in England judged to be failing rose by 17% last term. By the end of December, Ofsted inspectors had put 243 schools in the bottom category, which could mean they face closure. Primary schools were the worst, but Ofsted blames a rise in standards rather than poor performance in schools. A new technique to screen human eggs could improve the success rate of IVF treatment. Scientists in America have discovered a method of counting chromosomes in eggs. 3/4 of miscarriages are thought to be caused by embryos having the wrong number of chromosomes. It's thought older women in particular will benefit from the breakthrough. Now, revenge is best served in the newspapers. That's according to the wife of Italy's former Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi. She's received a public apology from her husband after she published details of a marital row in a paper. Veronica Berlusconi's bitter letter had made front-page news. She demanded her husband say sorry after he flirted openly with other women. Mr. Berlusconi is reported to be extremely embarrassed. Let's have a look at what's on our website this morning and meet the celebrity mums and enter yours in our competition to find Britain's best mum. Avoid pollution and stay healthy with our top tips. And organic shopping, good for your health, but maybe not for your bank balance. That's all on gm.tv and now also on your mobile. That brings the time now to 8 minutes past 6 and back at 6:30.
Thanks very much. We're going to have a look at the front pages. Actually, there is no other story on the front page. Oh, maybe there is on the broadsheets, or what used to be the broadsheets. The Daily Express, though, plot to behead soldier here in Britain. The Daily Mirror, behead a hero. The Sun has welcomed Britain. That's actually a reference to a comment by a military source who says, welcome to modern-day Britain. And the Daily Mail, Al-Qaeda was behind the plot to behead a soldier. John.
Thanks very much, Dee Penny. The broadsheets are very similar. This is the front page of the Daily Telegraph this morning. Beheading plot. Security stepped up for Muslim soldiers. In the Times, Muslim soldiers face kidnap and beheading. And in the Guardian, a British beheading on the net. Police claim to foil a plot. Well, Will Geddes is a security expert, an expert on Al-Qaeda, joins us now from London. Will, very good morning to you. This looks like, if these allegations and these leaks are true, this looks like a new and frightening development in terrorism here in the UK, does it not?
Yes, most certainly, John, and it seems to be illustrating what I would only say is a greater diversification to try and undermine not only the security services and the police forces, but also to show that they can present all sorts of threats in a variety of different levels.
Yes, and one other interesting aspect of it is picked up in one of those headlines there. That's the use of the internet. Terrorists, or alleged terrorists, of course, can't control the media, television and national newspapers. But they can do what they like on the internet, can't they?
Yeah, absolutely, and they can use the internet to communicate their message across the world. So there is a battle that is being waged not only against the security services and against, obviously, the police forces, but also on the media as well. And the police are very conscious of this, and that was very evident yesterday in terms of what they were prepared to release and how much they were prepared to say.
If indeed, as alleged, we have, in this instance, homegrown terrorists, i.e. British nationals behaving in this way, plotting in this way, what does it tell us about the effectiveness of the surveillance, of the security agencies thus far?
Well, because of the sort of level of target, John, and because it wasn't a high-ranking politician or a head of state or someone of a reasonably high profile which would have a sort of security measure in place, it would show that human source intelligence, if it has been this alleged plot, is working highly effectively within the community for alerting them to these types of attacks, and particularly on this occasion.
And as I was indicating, walking around this city last night, I came across understandable resentment about this massive police presence here and this area being targeted yet again. But in fairness to the security services, they have to strike a very difficult balance, don't they, between deciding when to go in, i.e. when something might be going to happen, and when to back off.
Indeed, and I think what's going to be even more interesting is to see why they particularly struck at this specific time yesterday. If it was a threat of this nature, and they had been undertaking surveillance for some considerable time already, one could only assume that there was not only surveillance on the actual threat group itself, but also counter-surveillance on the actual target. And maybe it was a time that they were right and all in place to strike at this particular time, or maybe certain key evidence was going to be lost if they didn't strike at this particular time.
OK, we'll get it for the time being. Thank you very much indeed. Penny, back to you in London.
John, thank you very much. If you want to send us your thoughts, you have a story about the arrest, then obviously you can go onto the website gm.tv or text us 81189. You're watching the News Hour here on Gmtv. This morning's other headlines: a quarter of all complaints made about the NHS every year centre on safety concerns, according to a new report by the health watchdog. Air passenger duty goes up by 100% today, meaning travellers will have to pay an extra £10 on a short-haul flight and £40 on a long-haul. And the wife of the former Italian Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi has published an open letter in Italy's national newspapers demanding that he apologise for his womanising. So as you heard there, air passengers being warned to face possible chaos now at airports across Britain as many airlines collect the controversial extra air tax introduced by the Chancellor Gordon Brown. From today, the air passenger duty paid will double. Economy class in Europe will rise to £10, with long-haul flights reaching £40. Passengers will not be allowed to fly if they haven't paid the tax. Well, joined now by travel expert Simon Calder. Good morning. So what about those who maybe bought their tickets, say, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, 4 months ago?
Exactly. That is what everybody is so upset about, the airlines and the passengers who booked before the Chancellor's announcement on the 6th of December that he was doubling the rate of air passenger duty. Now, the rate of tax on flying goes up, from time to time like all other taxes. What was different about this was that there were millions of travellers who had paid in advance, and they were being asked subsequently, or they will be asked today, to pay again. Now, if you're flying on British Airways, the UK's biggest airline, then actually you're in luck, because they've decided they're going to absorb the cost themselves. But other airlines have different policies. Ryanair, for instance, has been going to people's credit and debit cards and taking the money.
Well, without they can't do it without telling you.
No, they tell you in advance, and then they go and get the cash. And of course, that raises the problem. Well, if you've changed your credit card or whatever, then you could hit difficulties when you get to Stansted Airport this morning. And the other airlines, EasyJet has asked very nicely its passengers to pay it. They've sent out 3 emails to their passengers. However, there's still 10% of their people who haven't paid, and so they will literally be going around with buckets at places like Luton Airport this morning to collect the extra money that's due.
That's what I was going to ask. I mean, what if you know everything else fails and you arrive and there you are and you haven't paid it?
It all
You're just going to have
depends.
to hand over the cash?
Well, on many of the airlines that will be the case, but Ryanair were saying, well, if you haven't paid before you turn up at the airport, don't bother turning up, because you're not going to be flying. So I think there will be a number of people at Britain's airports today who will either get very upset or may even be told that they're not travelling.
It's not the end of budget travel, though, is it? Although, I mean, it is a fairly hefty hike.
It most definitely is. To some extent, the airlines have brought this on themselves because they pretend all sorts of other charges are actually that they are taxes when they're not. So things like passenger service charge, just handed over to the airport, it's not really a tax. The big problem is that for passengers within the UK, they are going to be facing a £10 rise, because on round trips that's what's going to apply, which will move people from from air to rail, giving the train operators an advantage. But of course, poor people in Northern Ireland, where air is the main form of transport between the rest of the UK and Northern Ireland, they're going to be really badly hit, whether they're travelling on business or for pleasure.
There's going to mean a lot of tax for Mr Gordon Brown.
£1.2 billion probably.
Yes, green tax, of course. Simon Calder, thank you very much. John.
Hello, good morning. You're watching a special edition of the News Hour, coming to you in part at least from the Alum Rock district of Birmingham, a predominantly Asian area, and the scene of the arrests yesterday, which really rocked the world. Feeling of anger, some resentment and some fear here. One leader of a local mosque saying publicly that people actually don't actually know what their children are up to anymore. Sarah Moore has been out in Birmingham assessing public opinion overnight.
Hot off the press, the local Birmingham paper shows the picture of a young Muslim soldier thought to be at the centre of a foiled terror plot. The alleged plan to kidnap him and torture him because he was a soldier who'd served in Afghanistan. The image is pixelated because of concerns for his safety. It's reported security is being offered for the 300+ Muslims working in the services to protect them and give them guidance. There's also a suggestion this morning that Al-Qaeda was behind the plot. There have been terror arrests here before, but nothing quite as extreme as an alleged plot to kidnap an innocent British citizen. And it's this that has shocked people here in Birmingham. They say they live in a mixed community where everybody gets along.
They just want everybody to see them as normal people who are against terrorists. Most of them are against it anyway.
Let me tell you right now, there's no such thing. I've been born and bred here. There's no extremism here at all. I could guarantee that. There's nothing here.
Yes, and in the Birmingham Post this morning, for those of you just joining, a picture of the man who's said to be the target of that plot, a young Muslim soldier who served Britain with distinction in Afghanistan. His face, for obvious reasons, obliterated. Alongside me, Mark Reeves, the editor of the Birmingham Post, and Adam Youssef, who's a local community and peace worker. Good morning to you both. Mark, first of all, your decision to use this photograph wasn't taken lightly, I'm sure.
Well, no. The potential threat to Muslim soldiers is clearly very serious. In actual fact, over the years, Birmingham celebrated the contribution of a number of Muslim soldiers. So it's not a matter of singling any one or two out. There are actually several who could be the potential target.
You obviously don't name him, but you do say he served Britain with distinction.
Yeah.
So you know a fair bit about him.
We have an idea about some potential targets, yeah.
What about the impact on the community? Wandering around here last night,
yeah.
I met people who said, yeah, well, this has foiled the plot, terrific, but we do resent this massive police presence here again, us being targeted once more.
Yeah. I think what's remarkable over the years since 9/11, there have been several raids and several arrests over the years, many of which have resulted in no charges being brought at all. And through that time, the community has shown remarkable forbearance, actually, over the years. But it could be that what happened yesterday could just be enough to stretch the patience of the entire community.
Adam Youssef, I quoted there a Muslim leader saying that some people no longer can trust their own children. There's fear here as well, isn't there?
I think there is a little bit of fear, not on the scale that has been created by this sort of national climate of fear. There's absolutely no reason a community as diverse as this and multicultural, multi-faith as this community is, there's absolutely no reason where residents, locals, Muslims and non-Muslims should become suspicious of each other. It's not on that scale where people should suddenly be looking at their neighbours in a different light and thinking there's an enemy within.
But if these allegations are true, Adam, and it's a big if, you know, it's another example, is it not, possibly, of Britain having homegrown terrorists within the Muslim community?
It is true. If obviously the allegations turn out to be right and they're convicted of a crime, it'll be an issue that the community will have to reflect on. But time and time again, in instances like this, no charges have been brought forward or the individuals have been acquitted. But that leaves a deep scar with the community, who's left with that burden and image where people assume, because the police were on every street corner, because there were raids taking place, that there is something going on even when there isn't.
It also breeds fear, Mark, doesn't it? I was talking to people last night who said that for the first Asian people, Muslim people, who said that for the first time yesterday they were abused by white people in the streets.
Yeah, that's definitely a concerning issue, but you've also got to remember that Birmingham was the scene of one of the worst mainland terrorist atrocities quite a few decades back with the Birmingham pub bombings. And immediately after that, yes, of course, there was pressure on the Irish community, but actually very quickly those wounds healed. Well, and I'm very confident that the same can happen here.
I think an appeal for peace and calm for everyone concerned, yeah?
Basically, that would have been the message.
Okay. Thank you both very much indeed. More from me throughout the programme. We're going to take a short commercial break. See you again in a couple of minutes.
Time is almost 22 minutes past 6. Now, it's the latest internet video sensation. Nearly 2 million people have logged on to watch this bride as she struggles to cope with a rather bad hairdo.
Here she comes! Oh my God. Jody, no! Jody, what's wrong? Jody? What is wrong? It looks so bad! Whoa, whoa, oh my God, Look at my hair! Look what she did! It looks fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It looks great. Are you kidding me? Okay.
Well, things didn't stop there. This is how she went on to tackle her bad hair.
It looks cute. It looks like Shirley Temple or something. I would tell you, we're not keeping it this way. We're not keeping it this way. Can you put away the It's okay. I wanted to have shorter hair anyway for a while. Look like a boy. You don't look like a boy. I can't get married like that. Yes, you can. Look at how cool I'm so embarrassed. That looks wicked. Oh my God, this is not crazy. Okay, Jody. Why did I cut my hair? Why did you let me cut my hair? You'll look back on this and laugh one day. It's not that bad. No. See? I hate my hair! Okay. No! Get back!
Joined now by lifestyle expert and wedding planner Nick Eade and celebrity hairdresser Beverly Cabela. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Now, assuming this isn't a hoax, I mean, it was a pretty strong reaction, wasn't it?
It's a very strong reaction, but you know what? I mean, I kept watching that last night because I couldn't believe that it wasn't real, but it's a very, very... it's a day where so much happens. It's an emotional day, and I can imagine there is a few people out there that have done that, because I see what brides go through, and really the key is for planning it. You don't do that on your wedding day.
I think when you say you don't do that on your wedding day, you mean you don't just go and have a hairdo.
Exactly. No. You plan it. You go and have your hair practice. You're going to have your makeup practice. You look at the whole thing together.
Yeah, I think one of the most important things is basically to have your hair done as well as wearing your dress. Because, you know, we can have a great or different hairstyle and wear jeans and a T-shirt, we look awful. But actually with the whole ensemble, you can actually look maybe quite good. The other thing, too, is make sure that the bridesmaids keep the scissors. Nobody else should have the scissors.
No blades around.
Where should grab those from?
I know. I mean, it's an essential wedding essential, but you should never give it to anyone.
Yes, always keep a pair of scissors in your handbag, just in case somebody's going to need them.
I've seen brides crying on their wedding days because they just say, "Oh, I had such a disaster. I was getting married in the north, and I didn't practice. Went to a hairdresser, put my hair up, and I was crying all day." And they don't realise that the implications of what they're doing.
I think it's very difficult, though. I mean, you're saying plan ahead, but sometimes it's difficult, isn't it? There might not be time. You might not have the money to have the hair
I agree with
done
you,
twice.
But I think the thing is also that maybe it's the bridesmaids that should be there, should step in, should organise everything very, very well, time plan everything. Well, okay, you might not actually have your hair done by the actual hairdresser, but you can maybe do sort of a mock-up if you can't afford to have your hair done twice.
Well, say, Beverly, say you actually did arrive back with a hairdo that you hated. I mean, we've all done it. We've all sat in the hairdresser and said, yes, that's lovely, and then gone round the corner and gone, oh, I hate it. So what do you do in that situation
what you do
if it's that big a day?
You go home, because everyone can do their own hair.
Or you go round to your bridesmaids.
You go home, you go back wherever you're going to get dressed, you take it all out. You have to give yourself about an hour spare to do this. So do your hair early. If it's a disaster, do it yourself. Because you know what? You have to look yourself on your wedding. You know, you've got a big dress, different makeup.
Yeah.
Everyone has these updos. They all look like Princess Anne, and they come home and they can start crying because they don't look themselves in the mirror. That's the problem.
I think also they're very dramatic, so they think, I want to look different,
Yeah.
I want to make an impact, so they do something wrong with their makeup, and they just don't actually feel comfortable in their own skin or their hairstyle.
It's a difficult day.
Yeah.
Plan ahead and try to look like yourself.
Yeah.
Not Princess Anne.
Yeah.
And not like a boy or Shirley Temple. Nikki, Beverly, thank you very much for joining us. If you've got a funny video clip from your wedding, you can send it on your mobile to 07739 672 673, or of course go onto the website gm.tv online, and now on your mobile just text the word mobile to 81189 and follow the instructions. And now it's the weather. Here's Claire.
Gmtv weather, sponsored by Nestlé Shredded Wheat. Shredded wheat and hot milk. They're a perfect winter warm-up.
Hello, good morning. Another mild day on the cards, and there's a lot of cloud around as well. Some low misty cloud, particularly over the hills, and also some fog patches. But over the next 24 hours, the air is going to get a lot colder and a lot clearer. And what that means for the weekend, it's turning a lot more wintry. In fact, it's going to feel more like winter as we head through Saturday into Sunday, with a little bit of sunshine coming through, and then perhaps 1 or 2 wintry showers as we head through into Monday. You can see the cloud really not going very far today. In fact, it's a very quiet day weather-wise. And you can see here spits and spots of rain always present across the western areas of Scotland, perhaps even Northern Ireland, down towards the western part of Wales and the West Country. You can see the mist and murk here, but generally it's the eastern side seeing the best of any sunshine this morning. Places such as Aberdeen and Dundee, where I think you'll see the highest temperatures today, and down towards Yorkshire and Lincolnshire. So that's the picture this morning, and there's going to be a little change this afternoon. It's still quite breezy across Scotland, and temperatures doing very well indeed for the 1st of February. 14 Celsius is actually a balmy 57 degrees Fahrenheit. Still seeing a little bit of dampness, particularly across southwest Scotland, southeast Scotland doing much better, as well as northeast England. And Northern Ireland, you're seeing the cloud break up from time to time. Northwestern areas of England, perhaps seeing more in the way of cloud. The odd spot or two of rain can't be ruled out. A similar situation for western fringes of Wales, but inland, across to the Midlands as well as East Anglia, I think the cloud will break up during the afternoon. It does mean it will feel mild through the southeast through the afternoon. 12 degrees Celsius, 54 Fahrenheit. The south coast also seeing perhaps a little bit of blue sky, but the north coast of the West Country always seeing more in the way of cloud and perhaps a little bit of dampness. So that's the picture today, and it's all a change as we head through the next few days. These were last night's temperatures. You can see here extremely mild for this time of year. However, the outlook is looking a little more blue, a little bit more chilly. You can see here as we head through the weekend, temperatures are going to be struggling. It means a hard frost some nights, and by day it does mean wrapping up warm, and the cold air is coming from the north. The rain clears off the scene on Friday. Most of seeing some lovely blue sunshine, and then as we head through Saturday into Sunday, it's blue sky and sunshine right the way through the weekend. Here's your summary. For your local weekend weather, visit our website gm.tv.
Good morning, it's 6:29, it's Thursday, February the 1st.
Yes, you're watching a special edition of the News Hour, and in the next half hour, as police continue their searches of properties linked to yesterday's terror raids here in the West Midlands, we'll be examining the chilling difference between this alleged plot and those that have gone before.
And back here in the studio, we'll be talking to the Patients Association as a new report shows a high level of concern about patient safety in the NHS.
Yes, I'm in the Rock district of Birmingham, a predominantly Asian area, and the scene of raids yesterday and arrests which shocked the entire world. One of those arrested, a young man who worked in the shop behind me, describes extremely hard-working, father of 2, who only left this country once, and that was to marry the woman who became his wife. A man who only left his shop to support Liverpool Football Club. Not the sort of man who would turn to terrorism, say the locals. And as I walked around here last night, chatting to people, I came across anger, I came across resentment too, that this area was once again targeted by the police, just as it had been in 2005 and 2006, when there were similar anti-terrorist raids in other parts of the country. And people cite Forest Gate, that area of East London, where 2 Muslims were arrested, one of them shot, but no one was ever charged, as a foundation for their fears. And in the Birmingham Post, the local paper this morning, a picture of the young man said to be the target of that plot, a Muslim soldier who served with distinction in Afghanistan, his face obliterated for obvious reasons, one of two people, it's thought, who may have been the target of these plotters. And from the police as well this morning, the revelation that this inquiry is only just beginning. This is a very, very serious inquiry indeed, and in the words of one officer, we are merely in the foothills of this investigation. Jackie Cabler is in Coventry for us this morning, where the suspects are being held. Jackie, good morning to you.
Good morning, John. Yes, I'm at Chase Avenue Police Station here in South Coventry. It's a very high security police station, and it's been made even more secure in the past 24 hours by the fact that they've put police bollards on all of the roads around the police station, so you cannot even park anywhere near it. Now, it's thought at least some of the 9 people arrested yesterday are being questioned here, others thought to be at other West Midlands police stations. And under the new anti-terrorism laws, police can hold them for up to 28 days without charge. So they do have some considerable time still to question them. Now, of course, when they were arrested yesterday, 8 at 4 o'clock in the morning and 1 later on the motorway. They were all arrested on suspicion of the commission, preparation or instigation of acts of terrorism under the Terrorism Act 2000. And while they're being questioned, their homes and their businesses in Birmingham are still being searched. 8 homes and 4 commercial premises sealed off by the police, and the searching has been going on there through the night. So as you said, John, this is a major investigation and has a very long way to go yet.
Jackie, thank you very much indeed. More from me here in Birmingham throughout this morning's programme, including an interview with Colonel Tim Collins on his reflections on what happened here yesterday. Meantime, back to Amanda for the rest of the news.
John, many thanks. Good morning. Patient safety comes top of the list of complaints against the NHS. That's according to a new report by the health watchdog. Other grievances include poor quality meals, dirty wards and abrasive treatment of patients. Unresolved complaints have doubled in the past decade. Air passenger duty goes up by 100% today. It means travellers will have to pay an extra £10 for a short-haul flight and £40 on long-haul. You'll still have to pay even if you bought tickets before the rise was announced in December. Now we're all becoming more stressed, but we're not getting any better at coping with it. The Samaritans say money is the biggest trigger of stress, followed by work, family worries, health and relationships. Here's Sue Jameson.
A woman aged 35 to 44, living near London and staying at home, probably with young children. You're near the top of the stress list. And the report says half of us feel more stressed now than we did 5 years ago. Becca Wilson is one of them. Mother to Ben and Molly, she's studying from home, but used to have a high-powered job in marketing.
Every day is just sort of another snowball of events, really, and how you're going to cram everything into a day with all your chores and your ironing and your washing and your cooking and your shopping and that's just the normal days. That's not sort of thinking about other things that could maybe be thrown at you.
And stress, says the report, can make you irritable, depressed, even suicidal.
Well, it's not looking too stressful here at the moment, but the report says we're all getting far worse at dealing with stress. Watching TV is a favourite way, having a glass of wine is another, but ignoring it, which many of us do, is the worst thing.
The best way, according to the Samaritans, is to talk to family and friends, something only about a fifth of us do.
Sue Jameson reporting there. Many parents claim they face hostility and resentment from colleagues when they return to work after having a baby. The Mother at Work website reports that 2/3 of mums say they only go back because they need the money. 3 out of 4 are also confused about their rights over flexible working. On to football news now, and a 3-1 win for Arsenal over Spurs mean they'll meet rivals Chelsea in the final of the Carling Cup. Spurs forced the game to extra time, but the Gunners won 5-3 on aggregate. Meanwhile, in the Premiership, Manchester United saw off Watford in a 4-0 victory. And Chelsea showed signs of returning to their best, beating Blackburn 3-0 in a match which saw Ashley Cole carried off with a knee injury. A 93-year-old American has been dubbed the world's oldest fitness guru. Marianne Downs, who's from Colorado, claims her vigorous workouts are the secret to long life. She also skis, plays tennis and even skydives, and her motto, shut up and live. Let's have a look at what's on the website this morning and meet these celebrity mums and enter yours in our competition to find Britain's best mum. Avoid pollution and stay healthy with our top tips. And organic shopping, good for your health, but maybe not for your bank balance. All that and much more on Gmtv and now also on your mobile. That brings the time now to 6:35. Our next news is at 7. Here's Penny.
Thanks, Amanda. Competition time and another chance to bag £20,000 by the end of the programme. John Coleman is down under with the details.
G'day folks, it's Jonathan Coleman here by the banks of the beautiful Sydney Harbour, bringing a bit of sunshine into your lives and giving you the chance to win £20,000 by the end of today's show if you can demonstrate your knowledge of things down under. See if you can answer this question. What's the name of the reality show set in an Australian jungle? Is it A, Big Brother, B, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, or C, Pop Idol? You can dial 090 68 100 100. That's 090 68 100 100 or text A, B or C as your answer, plus your full name and address to 81149. Or you can enter via the website, either online or on your mobile.
Lines close at 9 and the winner will be revealed in Lorraine's show. Time is 6:36. Here's what's happening where you are.
To the breakfast news from ITV Granada. First, the funeral's taking place today of a soldier from Cheshire who was killed in Iraq. 21-year-old Kingsman Alex Green from the Duke of Lancaster Regiment was shot dead after escorting a convoy out of Basra last month. A service will be held in Warrington this morning. Liverpool Football Club are now considering their options after the Dubai consortium who wanted to buy the club pulled out. Only a few days ago, Dubai International Capital looked close to a deal, but the club has also been approached by American billionaire George Gillette, who owns a Canadian ice hockey team. It's thought he was offering more money.
Given that the Gillette bid appears to be more money per share, then other shareholders, even if David Moores was happy, were bound to engage in conversations about whether this should be looked at in more detail. So I'll bet the Dubai guys are pretty annoyed, but there's a kind of logic to this.
A driver from Lancashire who escaped a speeding fine after challenging the accuracy of a speed gun has now been banned from driving. Brian Wiltshire was originally fined for doing 39 in a 30 zone, but successfully proved the speed gun hadn't been set up properly. But in court for a separate incident, he's been fined and banned from the road for 6 weeks after being caught doing 130 miles an hour on the M6 near Kendal. The parents of a 7-year-old with a rare condition are appealing to thieves who've stolen some of their most precious memories. Keir Platt from Bolton is unable to walk or talk. Now a camera with photos of when he was well and of his recent birthday has been stolen. His family says it's vital that they get it back. In last night's Premiership, Manchester United dismissed Watford 4-0 at Old Trafford, whilst Chelsea proved just too strong for Blackburn. Rovers lost 3-0 at Stamford Bridge. Bolton, meanwhile, held Charlton to a 1-1 draw. And staying with football, we'll be focusing on spending out the turnstiles in tonight's Granada Reports. It seems some supporters have had enough of paying too much for tickets, and clubs such as Wigan and Blackburn have been forced to slash prices to try and fill their grounds. Andrew Lindsay will be reporting on whether it's a sign of desperation or the shape of things to come. Well, that's it for now, though. I'll be back at 7:05. Time now for a look at the region's weather.
Relief for dry, chapped hands when they need it most. Nivea Hand SOS Intensive Balm.
Most places will see a cloudy morning with a chance of a few spots of light rain. It'll stay that way through the afternoon, although a few brighter sunny spells are expected in the southeast of the region. Feeling relatively warm today, highs reaching up to 11 Celsius, that's 45 Fahrenheit.
Yes, hello, welcome back to a special edition of the News Hour, coming to you in part at least from the Alum Rock district of Birmingham, scene of yesterday's terrorist raids. Look at the morning papers. Daily Mail, Al-Qaeda was behind plot to behead soldier is their headline. The Sun saying, welcome to Britain, terror gang plan to kidnap, torture and behead a soldier on our doorstep. And in the Daily Mirror, behead a hero is the headline there. Joined now by Colonel Tim Collins and Tahir Alam from the Muslim Council of Great Britain. Very good morning to you both. Tim, I'm fascinated by this in one regard. Why would they want to kill another Muslim? What's behind that thinking?
Well, it's exactly what we saw in Northern Ireland during the Troubles there. These fascist organisations realise that when they're losing the support of their community because the community is becoming mainstream and young members of that community are joining the security forces, the only way they can fight back is to try and terrorise, and that's why Catholic soldiers were terrorised in Northern Ireland by the IRA, and in this circumstance young Muslim soldiers are being singled out. But I think that's being lost in the media. The fact is the victim, intended victim, if this is true, and it hasn't been proven, if it is true, the intended victim was a Muslim, so therefore it means the Muslim community by and large are behind the establishment, and we should be supporting them rather than condemning them.
Some suggesting it might actually be linked with the death of a Muslim soldier in Afghanistan in some way. You discount that?
It probably, their logic hardly bears investigation. What I would say is I led a battalion which had people from Ireland, from both sides of the community divide. Some of their families had been involved in Republican terrorism and loyalist terrorism. These things cut down the centre of families. What we as a nation must do, however, I'd like to see some leadership. I'd like to see us getting behind our Muslim brothers and sisters and embracing them in the community, address the problems and ask why these young people have felt they need to do that and try and solve those problems, and then the problem will go away.
Well, let me address that to Tahir Alam alongside from the Muslim Council of Great Britain. You live in this area, you know these people, and yet one leader at a local mosque last night said, you know, there are people who are frightened to ask what their children are doing. They don't know what their children are doing in this community. Would you go along with that? Would you accept that?
There is a lot of anxiety and a lot of worry because of this particular incident and other incidents as well. And people are not used to actually this blaze of publicity and so on. Whatever the details may be, I know no allegations have been made as yet by the police and charges and so on. But nevertheless, I think it's important to wait for the outcome of the investigation, whatever the outcome will be. But I think the anxiety and the worry in the community is very real. And these are very close-knit families. And what that means, of course, is that a single arrest probably affects, 30, 40 people sometimes.
Well, you
so
say
that's very real.
You say close-knit to here, but the allegation of this gentleman is that they weren't that close-knit at all. They had no idea. They have no idea what their youngsters are up to. They have no idea how their young men are thinking.
Yes, of course. Those people who are engaged in this sort of thing, they would be very secretive. And, of course, for parents, it's a complete nightmare that they find that their son has been involved in something of this nature, something of criminal nature. So yes, of course, parents would be beleaguered just like anybody else, really. They would be worried about that sort of thing.
Yeah. The other aspect of this, of course, is that the British Army and the armed forces have been doing rather well, of late anyway, in recruiting Muslims, although they're still a tiny, tiny minority, less than 0.2% of the total strength. This is going to be a major setback in that regard too, is it not?
No, I don't believe so. If anything, I had a Muslim soldier. I also had an excellent Muslim officer served in my battalion with distinction. I think that it'll reawaken the fact that the Muslim community are part of the British community, and I think even more young men will realise it's their duty and the calling to go and serve in the armed forces and to defend their country, which this is after all.
Tim, Tahir, going to leave it there for the time being. Thank you both very much indeed for being with us. More from me throughout this morning's programme. Meantime, back to you, Penny, in London.
John, thanks very much. Bad food, poor nursing care, dirty wards, safety lapses in clinical care within the NHS dominate complaints made against the service. That's according to a report out this morning. The Healthcare Commission says there are 100,000 unhappy patients every year. Now, in a moment, I'll be talking to Vanessa Bourne from the Patients Association. But first, we go to Lancashire and Carol Booth, whose father died in hospital. Good morning. What happened to your dad?
Good morning, Penny. My father was admitted to hospital and found to have a urine infection. He was on an assessment ward for a couple of days where they did actually start antibiotic treatment. He was then transferred to a care of the elderly ward where he didn't have any antibiotic treatment for over a week. They didn't monitor the fluid intake or any of the documentation was terrible, and he actually died 11 days later with a urine infection. But I did find him one morning with his tongue stuck to the roof of his mouth, and he was begging for a sip of water. And his bed was on the opposite side of the room to the nurse call button. So even if he could have seen it, because he had a visual impairment at this time, he couldn't have even reached it to ask for a drink of water. Don't know how long he'd actually been begging for this sip of water.
So awful.
It was terrible.
And I assume you complained at the time.
It was very strange because we only sort of realised that things were going downhill on the Thursday, and I needed to speak with one of the doctors. So I asked to speak with the doctor who was looking after him, and when she did see him, I asked why he hadn't had a drip up even for nearly a week, having not eaten or drink anything. She did put a drip up, but the following morning I found the drip had run dry in the middle of the night, and from there on in he just went downhill, and he died on Father's Day 2005, and his very last words to me were, "Good night, God bless, fed up." And I thought he was just tired and going to go to sleep, but he actually died in the early hours of Father's Day.
We do have a statement actually from the Thameside and Glossop Acute Services NHS Trust, and this is the statement. The Trust fully accepted the findings of the Healthcare Commission in relation to the case of Mr Joseph Holt and is committed to ensuring each one of the Commission's recommendations is put into place in the interest of improving patient care. What's your response to that?
We actually received a letter from the Trust after they had this copy from the Healthcare Commission, and it did say that they were going to put things into practice. However, that letter was dated the 12th of December and we were guaranteed a response within 6 weeks. We're still waiting for that response.
Carol, thank you very much for telling us a very distressing story. Thank you. Well, Vanessa Bourne is from the Patients Association, joins me now in this studio. Good morning. I mean, what kind of picture does this report paint, do you think?
It's depressing in one sense in that so many of these stories and terrible cases are repeated over and over again. There's nothing new in any of the complaints here, but they are tragedies for each one of the people that have to complain about them. And so many of these things go round and round and round in the system, and it costs millions of pounds to try and put it right. I hope the Healthcare Commission will really get a grip and be Rottweilers over this, because they have the power to do things to make sure these complaints don't keep happening.
So what or who is to blame?
I think it's a culture that ultimately recognises quietly to itself that their customers can't go elsewhere. If your customer doesn't have a true choice about where they go, and that's the case with the NHS for most people, you know really that a lot of what you say can just be talk. You don't actually have to deliver it. But it's also depressing for people who are doing wonderful work in the NHS, because their hospital, as in the case of some of the hospitals in the worst 10, if you like, their hospitals get tarred with something that may be nothing to do with most of the hospital. It's one particular department that cannot get its act together.
But some of the worst hospitals are the ones which are supposed to be being held up as the just shining beacons of hope.
Absolutely. I think that should be really worrying to the Healthcare Commission and to everybody who is monitoring them, because they're going off on their own to do their own thing financially. And who is to sort of pull them back in line and say, you may be doing your own thing financially, but you're not doing a very good job for your patients?
Is it just an impression, or is it actually true that the NHS service is actually getting worse?
I think it's getting more stressed for most people, and if you don't have to worry about your customers ultimately and whether they are going elsewhere, you just, the thing does deteriorate in many senses. But it also affects the wonderful work that goes on, and that's not fair on the people who are doing a good job. It's the people who are not who need to be brought to account by the Healthcare Commission in this.
Vanessa Bourne, thank you very much for joining us this morning. You're watching the News Hour on Gmtv. The time is 6:48. This morning's headlines. A British Muslim soldier is understood to be in protective custody this morning after police foiled an apparent attempt to kidnap him. 9 people are under arrest in Coventry after raids on 12 addresses in Birmingham. Air passenger duty goes up by 100% today, meaning travellers will have to pay an extra £10 on a short-haul flight and £40 on a long haul. And an American woman has earned the title of the world's oldest fitness guru by working out at the age of 93. Marion Downs also skis, plays tennis and skydives. Now, loft extensions usually guarantee a room with a view, but the neighbours of a naturist couple in Wiltshire could find themselves with a little more than they bargained for. Jonathan Swain joins us now from Mere in Wiltshire. Jonathan, a bit chilly for that, isn't it?
Penny, it's certainly very chilly. I can't believe I'm standing out in the freezing cold this morning in just a dressing gown. That's right, I said just a dressing gown. And I might feel slightly odd about this, but John and Mary over here certainly don't. They think nothing of getting their kit off, jumping into their hot tub every day, even in conditions like this. Now, they may not look the shy and retiring sort, but all of this may well come to an end. Let me tell you a few bare facts of the story, because their neighbours want to apply for a loft extension up there, which will then give them a room with a view. But unfortunately for John and Mary, they believe that the view will be of the two of them sitting with not a stitch of clothing on in their hot tub. So they're actually objecting against that. So it's time for me, I think, if you can't beat them, join them. In I go. Oh, it's chilly. Now, before I get in, just move that camera away, I think. There we go. Right, John and Mary, in I come. Let me just come over here. I have to say, I think I've seen more than enough of you this morning. But and me too. Right, here we are. Finally in the nice and warm. So what are you objecting to this then?
What it is, we've bought the house 5 years ago, and we've always enjoyed the privacy of this garden here, the sun, well, the lawn to get the sunshine and the jacuzzi, and we've set it up as we like it. And it's in a conservation area, so we didn't think it would change. And now they've applied to put these windows in, we're going to lose that privacy that we've enjoyed so far, you know. And we feel like it shouldn't happen really. It's going to really spoil what we've set up and what we enjoy.
So most people say that, can't you just keep your clothes on?
Well, we could, but we really do enjoy naturism, and as John said, you know, we don't want to offend people. Unfortunately, the naked body does sometimes offend. We don't want to offend anybody, so it'd be better.
Well, I offended you this morning.
Not at all, no.
Not at all. We're used to it. We're quite. That was a soap that just touched my leg there, wasn't it?
yeah. There's a little alligator actually swimming around in it.
Just as well. Right, I think we've got the bottle of champagne now, haven't we? So hopefully we're toasting to some success later on if the planning application goes your way. Now, as Penny is a bit of a treat, I think we should jump up after 3, don't you? Yeah. 1, 2, 3. No, I wouldn't do that to you, Penny. Don't worry.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Hope your shorts have dried out by the time we come to you next. That's it from the News Hour. GMTV Today is up next with Fiona and Andrew.
Yes, and I'll be here in the Alum Rock district of Birmingham, where yesterday police arrested a total of 9 people allegedly involved in a plot to kidnap, torture and eventually execute a British Muslim soldier. More on that later. Right now, let's catch up on today's weather with Claire.
GMTV weather, sponsored by Nestle Shredded Wheat. Shredded wheat and hot milk. They're a perfect winter warm-up.
Hello, good morning. Now the weather is on the turn this weekend, turning colder and also brighter, and then again all change as we head through next week, where the weather's turning a lot more windy and also wet. But for the time being, it's a very quiet start to February. You can see here there's a lot of low misty clouds and mist and fog patches, particularly across southern parts of Wales, central southern England down towards the West Country. We're seeing the clouds producing some rain and drizzle across western facing coasts in Scotland as well as Northern Ireland, and that's really not going to change through the day. The eastern side of Scotland down towards Yorkshire and Lincolnshire, not doing too badly today. Most of you seeing a little bit of sunshine. That's where the highest temperatures are likely to be. So through the afternoon, still quite breezy across Scotland. There's a lot of cloud around, particularly across this western side, but hopping over the Highlands, you can see here anywhere from Fraserburgh down towards Edinburgh. That's where you're likely to see blue sky and sunny spells. And temperatures 14 degrees Celsius, incredibly mild for this time of year. And in fact, I think it's the last of the mild days. It's turning colder tomorrow. For Northern Ireland, some sunny spells through the day. Still a bit damp across northwest England, southwest Scotland, and for the eastern side of England, that's where you always see more in the way of brighter weather. It's a bit damp across the western fringes of Wales, a bit inland, not too bad at all, and the Midlands, East Anglia, seeing some brighter weather as we head through the afternoon, and that will help temperatures up to perhaps even 12 degrees Celsius, 54 Fahrenheit. It's a slightly different story across the West Country. I think it's this north coast of Cornwall and Devon where you are likely to see sort of spits and spots of a rain over Dartmoor as well, and temperatures here, even so, there's a lot of cloud, 11 degrees Celsius. Now last night temperatures reached, well, balmy figures, 7-8 degrees Celsius where the clouds stuck around. It's all going to change, as I said, over the weekend. In fact, we're talking hard frosts over the weekend, but it does mean crisp and bright days. Later on in the weekend, though, things will change. Let's have a look and see what's happening. Well, for Friday, the cloud clears off the scene. It means most of us seeing some sunshine, and it is going to feel significantly colder. You can see the winds coming in from a northwesterly direction. And then for the weekend, Saturday's looking fantastic. Head outside, enjoy the sunshine, wrap up warm, but then on Sunday, a slight change coming in from the far north. We could see some wintry showers next week. Here's your summary. Check out what the weather will be like this weekend on our website, gm.tv.
Good morning. Was Al-Qaeda behind the alleged plot to capture and kill a British Muslim soldier? We're live to Birmingham as police continue to search addresses there.
Storing stem cells from umbilical cords to cure killer diseases in the future. But why is one of Britain's biggest tycoons getting involved?
I think it's just like
and bad hair day. Why one bride chopped off her own hair on the biggest day of her life. That's all to come. It's Thursday, the 1st of February, 2007. Very good morning to you. You're watching Gmtv today. Time is almost 7 o'clock.
Yes, 2 million people have watched those amazing pictures. Just got a glimpse of there online of that distraught poor old bride left in tears at the state of her hair on her big day. Well, if you've had a bad hair day, either on your wedding day or just, you know, that horrible moment when you leave the hairdresser and think, no, then get in touch. Email or text us your pictures, preferably, so we can see the damage here at GMTV.
Or if you've made up a bad internet clip, also give us a call.
You suggesting that might be fake?
Just a possibility to be investigated later on.
Mind you, I did think that, and then I heard the American accent.
Yes, so it's all genuine.
They're known for overacting, aren't they, perhaps?
Tell the others we got this morning. We're continuing our search for GMTV's Mum of the Year. If you think your mum is a 1 in a million, keep watching, find out how to enter her in our competition, with her permission, of course.
Yes, but first of all this morning, a British Muslim soldier is understood to be in protective custody this morning after police foiled an apparent attempt to kidnap and execute him. Community figures in Birmingham say they are shocked by the raids yesterday on 12 addresses in the city and the arrest of 9 people. They're expected to be questioned by police today. John Stapleton is in the Alum Rock area of Birmingham. Morning to you. John, what's the latest?
Yes, good morning to you, Andrew. As you can see, still a significant police presence here in Alum Rock, where some of those now in custody were arrested. Amongst them, a young man who worked at the shop behind me, described as extremely hard-working by locals. They say he only ever left this country once, and that was to marry the woman who became his wife and the mother of his 2 children. He only left his shop to go and support Liverpool Football Club, not the sort of man they say who would involve himself in terrorism. As I walked around the area last night, I have to tell you, I came up against shock. I found anger. I also found resentment that once again this area has been targeted by police, as it was in 2005, as it was in 2006, following terror alerts in other parts of the country. And people cite what happened at Forest Gate in East London when 2 Muslims were arrested. One of them was shot, but no one was ever charged after a massive police swoop there. There's a foundation for their fears. And overnight and this morning we've been gauging a reaction of people across the city to those raids. Here's what they had to say.
I'm glad the police have gone in hard, and yes, I am worried about the fact that individuals are being targeted, and it is quite worrying.
I'm a Muslim myself, and a lot of people feel under threat, or you know, they feel that Muslims are being unfairly treated.
I just think it's getting worse, and you don't feel like so safe, do you know, going around Birmingham or anywhere for that matter.
And in the Birmingham Post this morning, a picture of the young man, the young Muslim soldier who was allegedly targeted, a man who apparently served this country with great distinction in Afghanistan. His face obviously obliterated, his name withheld for obvious reasons, that man, and possibly one of them now held in protective custody. And the police saying, Andrew and Kate, the police are saying this morning that this is only the beginning of a very, very serious investigation. We are merely in the foothills of a massive inquiry. Back to you.
OK, John, thank you very much indeed. A great deal of fear and stress in the community. Obviously, back to you later on. If you've got something to say about the arrests yesterday, if you have a view, we'd like to hear from you this morning. Just head to our website, gm.tv, or on your mobile as well. You just text the word mobile to 81189. Follow the instructions on there if you have a view.
OK, get in touch on that. Let's get you up to date with the rest of the news you wake up to now. Here's Penny.
Thanks very much. Good morning. Patient safety is at the top of the list of complaints against the NHS. The Health Watchdog report shows a quarter of all complaints centre on safety. Richard Gaisford is at Tameside General Hospital in Ashton-under-Lyne in Lancashire. Richard.
Well, more than 100,000 people complain about their treatment on the NHS every year. And most of those complaints are dealt with locally, but some 8,000 need to be referred for independent national review by the Healthcare Commission, and the figures out today show us that some quarter of all of those complaints are about patient safety. The rest are about the level of care people have received, the cleanliness of the hospital, and perhaps the lack of information that's been passed on. Now, one of those complaints was about Joseph Holt, 83 years old when he arrived here at Tameside General Hospital, came in with a stomach complaint, and they quickly diagnosed him as having a urinary infection. But he never really got the level of care he desperately needed and died very quickly.
He had no antibiotics at all for a week, even though they'd done blood tests, and these blood tests did actually show that he had a really nasty infection. So he had no antibiotics for a week, and he did die of an infection.
Well, the Healthcare Commission upheld Carol Booth's complaint against this hospital, and the local MP is sitting on a dossier of 120 other complaints by families about poor care here at Tameside General.
Richard, thanks very much. Air passenger duty goes up by 100% today. It means travellers will have to pay an extra £10 on short-haul flights and £40 on long-haul. And you'll have to pay even if you bought tickets before the rise when it was announced in December. A new technique to screen human eggs could improve the success rate of IVF treatment. Scientists in America have discovered a method of counting chromosomes in eggs. 3/4 of miscarriages are thought to be caused by embryos having the wrong number of them. It's thought the breakthrough will benefit older women in particular. And finally, a woman in Mexico has given birth to a baby the size of a 3-month-old child. Baby Antonio weighed in at a whopping 14 pounds and is almost 2 foot long. Luckily for his mother, he was born by caesarean section. Well, that's 6 kilos and 55 centimetres in new money. Still large, whichever way you look at it. Almost, no, it isn't. It's 4 minutes past 7. Here's what's happening where you are.
Good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News from ITV Granada. First, the funeral's taking place today of a soldier from Cheshire who was killed in Iraq. 21-year-old Kingsman Alex Green from the Duke of Lancaster Regiment was shot dead after escorting a convoy out of Basra last month. A service will be held in Warrington this morning. Liverpool Football Club are now considering their options after the Dubai consortium who wanted to buy the club pulled out. Only a few days ago, Dubai International Capital looked close to a deal, but the club's now also been approached by American billionaire George Gillette, who owns a Canadian ice hockey team. It's thought he's offering more money.
Given that the Gillette bid appears to be more money per share, then other shareholders, even if David Moores was happy, were bound to engage in conversations about whether this should be looked at in more detail. So I'll bet the Dubai guys are pretty annoyed, but there's a kind of logic to this.
A driver from Lancashire who escaped a speeding fine after challenging the accuracy of his speed gun has now been banned from driving. Brian Wiltshire was originally fined for doing 39 in a 30 zone, but he successfully proved the speed gun hadn't been set up properly. But in court for a separate incident, he's been fined and banned from the road for 6 weeks after being caught doing 130 miles an hour on the M6 near Kendal. The parents of a 7-year-old boy with a rare condition are appealing to thieves who've stolen some of their most precious memories. Keir Platt from Bolton is unable to walk or talk. Now a camera with photos of when he was well and of his recent birthday has been stolen. His family says it's vital to get it back.
They're really, really important for us, for memories, because obviously Keir isn't well, and some of the photographs on the camera are photographs of when he was better. We want them back for precious memories, really, because we're not quite sure how long or how many birthdays there's going to be.
Well, on to football now, and in last night's Premiership there were mixed fortunes for the region's sides. Manchester United dismissed Watford 4-0 at Old Trafford, whilst Chelsea proved just too strong for Blackburn. Rovers lost 3-0 at Stamford Bridge. Bolton held Charlton to a 1-1 draw. That's it for now. I'll be back at 8:05. Time now for a look at the region's weather.
Relief for dry, chapped hands when they need it most. Nivea Hand SOS Intensive Balm.
Most places will see a cloudy morning with a chance of a few spots of light rain. It'll stay that way through the afternoon, although a few brighter, sunnier spells are expected in the southeast of the region. Highs today of 11 Celsius, 45 Fahrenheit.
7 minutes past 7, 1st of February. Good morning to you. Now, if what police say is true, it is an audacious and a chilling plot. We're talking about the counter-terrorism operation mounted in Birmingham yesterday under the Terrorism Act. Birmingham is the venue. That's where John is this morning with the very latest. Hello again, John.
Yes, good morning to you, Andrew. Benefit of people just joining us. I'm in the Alum Rock district of Birmingham, a predominantly Asian community, where there is this morning, and there has been overnight, a mixture of shock at what happened here, fear, and I have to say a little resentment too at the rather dramatic way in which police once again swooped on this area. Sarah Moore has been gauging opinion across the city.
Hot off the press, the local Birmingham paper shows the picture of a young Muslim soldier thought to be at the centre of a foiled terror plot. The alleged plan to kidnap him and torture him because he was a soldier who'd served in Afghanistan. The image is pixelated because of concerns for his safety. It's reported security is being offered for the 300+ Muslims working in the services to protect them and give them guidance. There's also a suggestion this morning that Al-Qaeda was behind the plot. There have been terror arrests here before, but nothing quite as extreme as an alleged plot to kidnap an innocent British citizen. And it's this that has shocked people here in Birmingham. They say they live in a mixed community where everybody gets along.
They just want everybody to see them as normal people who are against terrorists. Most of them are against it anyway.
Let me tell you right now, there's no such thing. I've been born and bred here. There's no extremism here at all. I could guarantee you that. There's nothing here.
Well, as I indicated, Andrew, it shocked people here, and it has a potential also for dividing families in the Asian community, with one local leader saying that some families no longer know what their sons are up to.
It's causing division within the family. When you challenge your son or daughter, where are you going? What's your business at night? Who are you meeting? Who are you going to see? What are you doing on the internet? What are you watching on the TV? These kind of questions.
Well, joined now by Adam Youssef from the Saltley Gate Peace Group, and Mark Reeves, the editor of the Birmingham Post, which is all featured in that report. Adam, first of all, pick up that point made by another local leader that families are now suspicious of their own children.
I think the comments you're referring to were made by local mosque leader Shabir Hussain, who I was speaking to yesterday. I think what he was referring to was a story about his own children and parents in general. Obviously, with the first generation, especially immigrants from the subcontinent who have come into the country and have settled down, they've moved on, they've worked all life, and I don't think it was exclusive to the Muslim community. The idea that parents don't understand what their children are doing is something that it spreads all right across society. With regards to the internet and with regards to going out and things like that, parents are always left in the dark somewhat with regards to their children's activities. I don't think he was implying that their sons specifically are up to something on the internet in relation to terrorism.
Absolutely not. But also, I walked around this area last night, and I quite honestly can tell you, I came across shock at what had happened. I came across fear, people fearing reprisals, people saying they've been abused for the first time in their lives by white people in the streets of this area, and some resentment too about the way in which the police have swooped and the rather dramatic way it's been treated by everyone, including us, the media.
There are concerns. I mean, the community does fear a backlash, as you would in any of the areas where these raids have taken place. I think in the past there has been confrontation with groups on racial grounds, religious grounds. Things like that have always been dealt with by the police and community.
Mark Reeves, you took the decision to print the picture of this soldier, obviously blocking out his face. You can't have done that lightly. Why did you do it?
Well, Birmingham has actually sent many of its sons. People from the Muslim community, several of whom are members of the armed forces, and indeed we've celebrated their contribution in Iraq and Afghanistan over the years, and we thought it was important to try and humanise the story.
And do you understand the resentment people I met last night expressed about the way in which this was done, the way in which this area has been targeted yet again?
I think what's remarkable is the forbearance that the community around here has shown over the years since 9/11, when there have been several raids similar to this one over the years, many of which have resulted in no charges or no convictions. And it's not surprising perhaps that yet another one does start to test the patience of the community.
Thank you both very much indeed. I should just stress from the police's point of view that they are saying overnight this is the start of a very big indeed, and very serious inquiry. We're only in the foothills of this investigation, with the words of the Assistant Chief Constable of the West Midlands Force. Back to you in the studio.
Yes, the community in shock. Thank you very much indeed, John.
Well, let's bring you up to date with the other headlines that you're waking up to this morning now. And a quarter of all complaints made about the NHS every year centre on safety concerns, according to a new report by the Health Watchdog. Air passenger duty goes up by 100% today, meaning travellers will have to pay an extra £10 on a short-haul flight and £40 on long-haul. Today's weather, well, a chill and misty start in the south, giving way to sunshine, especially in the east. It's going to be mild here too, with highs of 14 Celsius. Eastern Scotland will also have another mild day. Competition, and we have £20,000 up for grabs this week. Jono Coleman's in Oz. Good day, Jono. What are you up to?
G'day folks, how are you? Who needs the X Factor? We're here in Maroota in New South Wales at the Tobruk Sheep Station. Just my few family and friends here. These are all my kids. How are you, kids? They're all having a good time. We've got a bit of music, we've got the sheep, we've got some Billy tea on here and some beautiful fresh damper that's cooked in the fire. It's all happening, and we're bringing a little bit of Australian sunshine into your lives and giving you the chance to win £20,000 if you can answer this question. That's right. Get ready to phone in if you can answer this question. What's the name of the reality TV show set in the Australian jungle? Is it A, Big Brother, B, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, or C, Pop Idol? Which one of those is it? A, B or C? If you think you know the answer, here's how to enter. You can dial 090 68 100 100. That's 090 68 100 100, or text A, B or C as your answer, plus your full name and address to 81149. Or you can enter via the website, either online or on your mobile. Okay, basically that's it. Keep those calls coming in. We'll tell your name, the winner at the end of the show. In the meantime, let's sing along, boys and girls. See you later. Here we go. Click, go the shears, boys, click, click, click. Be prepared to fend. The money starts to mix. And come on, sing along.
Great.
Got them going this morning, John. Oh, nice one, hey?
Fantastic.
Well done, well done. It's nice.
Wonderful. That looks like childhood story Australia,
And
doesn't it?
John looks very comfortable in that
He
setting,
does,
doesn't
indeed. Childhood. Yeah, OK, those lights close at 9 o'clock this morning and the winner's going to be revealed in LK today.
All right, coming up this morning, right, somebody's left the comfort of the wool pack for our sofa this morning. Lucy Parker there, helped us finding the search for Gmtv's Mum of the Year, and she's got her mum with her.
Good stuff, good stuff. Most if you're watching us at home after having been made redundant this morning, don't despair. It probably looks pretty gloomy, but here's work guru John McWilliams with some advice.
Redundancy doesn't necessarily mean you're not wanted anymore. It might mean you've outgrown the job. Keeping a positive attitude is vital, but don't think of it as an ending, but the beginning of new opportunities. New legislation has outlawed age discrimination, so just because you're older doesn't mean you're over the hill. Many of the skills you've developed will be transportable. When you're looking for a new job, you need to become a salesperson, and the products you're selling is you. Work out what's special about you. Write down one statement that sums you up. Make sure your CV's up to date. And remember, it's never too late to learn new skills. They really can make all the difference. When you do get an interview, needy and desperate are a turn-off. Remember the 3 C's: calm, confident, capable.
I really didn't think I could do it, but the skills assessment made me realise I can.
Work Guru, in association with Manpower. What do you do?
Hi there. Now, anyone who's ever walked up the aisle knows what it's like to have pre-wedding nerves. But I hope that very few of you have ever freaked out quite like the bride you're about to see. And so far, more than 2 million people have clicked online to see this bride. Her name's Jodie, and she goes into meltdown just an hour before her wedding after a disastrous hairdo. Have a look at this.
Here she comes! Oh my God. Jodie? No! Jodie, what's wrong? Jodie? What is wrong? It looks so bad! Whoa, whoa, oh my God. Look at my hair! Look what she did! It looks fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Jess, it looks great. Are you kidding me? No. Okay, it looks cute. It looks like Shirley Temple or something. I would tell you. We're not keeping it this way. We're not keeping it this way. Can you put away the... It's okay. I wanted to have shorter hair anyway for a while. Look like a boy. You don't look like a boy. I can't get married like that. Yes, you can. Look at how I'm so embarrassed. That looks wicked. Oh my God, this is not crazy. Okay, Jodie. Why did I cut my hair? Why did you let me cut my hair? You'll look back on this and laugh one day. It's not that bad. No. See? I hate my hair. Okay. Okay. No. Get back.
Oh my God. You'll look back on this and laugh one day. Might be the only thing she can think of, but possibly not the best thing to do at that point. We're joined now by celebrity lifestyle expert and wedding planner Nick Eade and celebrity hairdresser Beverly C. Good to see both of you.
Hi.
Oh my goodness me.
It's entertaining, isn't it?
It's very entertaining.
Watching it.
Loads of people. I mean, do you think it's real? We'll talk about regardless of whether it's real or not. Do you think it's real? Because I thought initially it wasn't, and then I think, well, they did American.
I kind of think it's real. At the beginning, it's 6 minutes long. At the beginning, you see the girls getting ready before the actual bride walks in. So actually, it does look quite real, and they are sort of having their champagne and stuff. But it's very dramatic. She's a great actress. She should win an Oscar if she is one.
If it isn't real, yeah. So, I mean, have you ever known brides to completely freak out about their hair on their wedding day?
Thankfully not my clients, but
of course, we say quickly.
But I have to say that I have had clients that have told me they've absolutely lost it on their wedding day, and they're very emotional. And what happens is they don't plan it. So, you know, you've got the most expensive ball gown you've ever worn, and then they go over the top with the makeup, and then the hair gets put up, and they do things that they've never done before. They look in the mirror, and they don't know who they're looking at. So they then start to freak out. So, yes, I have had a lot of people that I know have freaked out on their wedding days. That's a little drastic. It's quite funny, though, isn't it?
Very, very funny. I mean, what should you do if you don't like your hair?
You know what? It's about planning, and you have to plan it. You've got to practice the hair. Now, if you don't have the money to go to a hairdresser and do a couple of practice runs, do it with your friend. Get an idea of what you want to look like on your wedding day. Practice it so there's no surprises on that day. It's a very emotional day, and I can see why people freak out a bit on their wedding day.
Well, what is it, do you think, about our wedding day that we put so much pressure on? Because it's always guaranteed, isn't it? When you want to look good on a night, that's when you get the big spot.
I think it's because
so you're always going to look terrible, aren't you, on the day when you most want to look your best.
I think it's because people put, as you say, so much pressure on it. It's the big, big day. So they go over the top. They have the pantomime makeup because that's the only day they'll ever be seen wearing that makeup or looking so good. I think they've got to sort of rein in and also, obviously, use your bridesmaids. They're the best thing for you. You know, they should be there to be your best friend, to look after you, keep the scissors. Only they have the scissors.
Hide the way,
Hide the scissors. And also, you know, if you want to go, if they've got any problems, you know, sit with them first, say, listen, I'm not happy with this, or I'm not too sure about that. But never sort of be so instant as these guys. They don't really seem to care too much about their friends.
They'll look back and laugh one day. Oh dear, oh dear. So look, if you do, presumably, this is the worst thing to do. You come home to the hairdresser, you hate it, don't start hacking chunks off.
No, give yourself time.
Sound advice.
Give yourself time, and if you really hate it, just wet it down and start again. Everyone can do their own hair, and you'd feel better than having a disaster like that.
And true, and I mean, you know, I suppose the person that's marrying you has seen you looking the way you've done your own hair all the way along, so they're not going to be too horrified if you turn up looking the same as usual. All right, thanks very much to both of you. Now, if you've had a hair disaster or you have any funny video clips like that on your mobile to show us, send it to 07739 672 673 or head to the website, that's gm.tv online. And now on your mobile as well, just text the word mobile to 81189 and follow the instructions there.
So if you want to bear yourself at your most vulnerable, share it with the nation
this
morning. What a fun suggestion that is. Right, 7:25 is the time. It's the 1st of February. Let's take a look at the weather.
GMTV weather, sponsored by Nestlé Shredded Wheat. Shredded wheat and hot milk. They're a perfect winter warm-up.
Hello, good morning. If you are planning to get married this weekend, it's looking cracking. It really is a wonderful weekend ahead with blue sky, sunshine, although very chilly indeed. But it is only February. I can't say the same thing for today, though. There's a lot of cloud around, but we are seeing temperatures up into the mid-teens again. Yesterday, 5 came in around 14 degrees Celsius, and it could be similar today. So it's a mild start to the day. Where the cloud has cleared overnight, we're seeing some mist and fog patches, particularly across southern parts of Wales, as well as central southern England, some parts of the Midlands as well. To the northwest, though, that's where the cloud is thick enough and we're seeing the odd spot or two of rain. The best of any brightness this morning will be across eastern Scotland, down towards eastern England there, and little change through the afternoon. Still quite breezy across the north of Scotland, but temperatures really respectable, incredibly mild for this time of year. And if you catch some sunshine as well, it's going to feel really pleasant outside. The cloud will always stick in the west, particularly across western areas of Scotland, down towards Northern Ireland. But the eastern side always doing much better indeed. East of the Pennines there, you should see some sunny spells. Wales not doing too badly. That's away from the west coast where it is going to be rather damp, but inland dry, and we could see some sunny intervals coming across places such as Yorkshire, the Midlands, down towards East Anglia as well as the southeast. And here temperatures reaching probably around 11 or even 12 degrees Celsius. 12 is 54 Fahrenheit. The West Country then a little bit damp along this north coast, but generally it's going to be a dry afternoon to come, and temperatures there 10 or 11. Now it is all going to change over the next 24 hours. Typically temperatures last night held up because of all the cloud, but over the next night or so, I think we're talking frost, hard frost actually, as temperatures dip perhaps down to around -4 degrees Celsius, and the change is coming in from the north. So tomorrow morning we'll see a little bit of cloud and sort of patchy rain. It will clear off the scene quite quickly, but the wind now coming in again from the northwest, quite breezy for a time, and you can see here sunshine. Sunshine is going to be the main feature of our weather as we head through the weekend, but the wind always coming from a northerly direction, and that's the reason why it's going to feel so cold indeed. In fact, frost by night, but by day most of us seeing some fine and dry weather with some sunshine, and then the little front comes down on Sunday, and that heralds a change for next week. It's turning changeable again. Just summary. Get the weekend outlook for your postcode on our website, gm.tv.
So mild weather today for Kate Connolly. A very happy birthday to you. She's 11 today. Mrs. Connolly, who I assume is your mum, and all the family in Newcastle upon Tyne, wish it to be known that you're marvellous, and happy birthday. You're off to school at 8:15 this morning, it says here, so we thought we'd get that in nice and early.
Brilliant.
We are a request show after all.
Have a nice day. Now, still to come this morning, Richard Branson's going to be here to tell us about his new and very controversial venture. It's an interesting one. Stay tuned for that.
OK, almost 7:30. Here's Penny with the news.
Thanks very much. Good morning. A British Muslim soldier is understood to be in protective custody this morning after police foiled an apparent attempt to kidnap and execute him. 9 people are under arrest after yesterday's raids on a dozen addresses in Birmingham. John Stapleton is in the Alum Rock area of the city. John.
Yes, good morning, Penny. As you can see, still a significant police presence here in Alum Rock, where several people were arrested yesterday. Amongst them, a young man who worked at the shop behind me, described as extremely hard-working by locals, a father of 2 who only left his country once to marry the woman who became his wife, and only left the shop to go and support Liverpool Football Club. Not the sort of man who'd involve himself in terrorist activities, according to the locals. And as I wandered around here last night, I came up against shock, I came up against fear. People said they'd been abused for the first time in their lives by white people in this area, and also a bit of resentment that yet again this area had been targeted by police, as it was in 2005 and 2006 following terror alerts in other parts of the country. People cite what happened at Forest Gate, where 2 Muslims were arrested. One of them was shot, but no one was ever charged, as a foundation for their fears. And in the on the front page of the Birmingham Post this morning, a picture of the target, alleged target anyway, of that plot, a young British Muslim soldier who served his country with a distinction in Afghanistan. His name withheld and his face obviously obliterated. Police meanwhile saying this is a massive operation and it's a long way to go yet, Penny.
John, thanks very much. Patient safety is the main complaint against the NHS, according to a report by the Health Watchdog. Other grievances include poor quality meals, dirty wards and abrasive patient treatment. Unresolved complaints have doubled in the past decade. Air passenger duty goes up by 100% today. It means travellers will have to pay an extra £10 on short-haul flights and £40 on long-haul. And you may have to pay even if you bought tickets before the rise was announced in December. The number of schools in England judged to be failing went up by 17% last term. By the end of December, Ofsted inspectors had put 243 schools in the bottom category, which could mean that they face closure. Primary schools were the worst, but Ofsted blames a rise in standards rather than poor performance. We're all becoming more stressed, but we're not getting any better at coping with it. The Samaritans say that money is the biggest trigger for stress, followed by work, family worries, health and relationships. Here's Sue Jameson.
A woman aged 35 to 44, living near London and staying at home, probably with young children. You're near the top of the stress list. And the report says half of us feel more stressed now than we did 5 years ago. Becca Wilson is one of them. Mother to Ben and Molly, she's studying from home, but used to have a high-powered job in marketing.
Every day is just sort of another snowball of events, really, and how you're going to cram everything into a day with all your chores and your ironing and your washing and your cooking and your shopping, and that's just the normal days. That's not sort of thinking about other things that could maybe be thrown at you.
And stress, says the report, can make you irritable, depressed, even suicidal. Well, it's not looking too stressful here at the moment, but the report says we're all getting far worse at dealing with stress. Watching TV is a favourite way, having a glass of wine is another, but ignoring it, which many of us do, is the worst thing. The best way, according to the Samaritans, is to talk to family and friends, something only about a fifth of us do.
Well, finally, a 93-year-old American has been dubbed the world's oldest fitness guru. Marion Downs from Colorado claims her vigorous workouts are the secret to long life. She also skis, plays tennis and even skydives, and she has a motto which is shut up and live. Probably very useful when you're skydiving. 7:32, I'm back at the top of the hour. Here they are.
Yeah, pull, shut up, and live.
Exactly.
In that
Actually,
order.
if you try and speak, apparently, when you're skydiving, your mouth fills with air and you just get that sort of...
And when you get down,
Well, it's an attractive
you'd
look.
burp when you got to the ground, and it would be rude, and people would think you were terrible, wouldn't you? If you fill up too much.
Yeah.
Thanks, Penny. Thank you.
Gosh. Anyway, it's 7:32. When we come back for more debates about wind following skydiving.
Yeah, don't open your mouth when
I'm sure
skydiving.
that'll help you
Perfect.
through your day this morning.
right.
It's your chance to win £20,000.
And if you think your mum is just great, you may want to enter her for our competition. We're looking for Britain's best mum. Emmerdale's Lucy Parger is here with her mum to tell us all about that.
Oh, your love, Clover, is the way that
Britain's best mum,
just
in association with Clover.
Now, as you may have seen yesterday, our search is on for Britain's best mum. Yesterday we spoke to Wendy Peters, which was lovely. Today we welcome actress Lucy Pargeter and mum Susan as well. A very good morning. In a few moments, Lucy's going to say why her mum is 1 in a million. If she doesn't, she'll get a clip round the ear. First, a look at her in action at Emmerdale's Chaz Dingle.
Your menus, sir, madam. Thank you. Oh, by the way, Chaz, I hear your cousin's in a spot of bother.
Listen, you shut up, Lemon Sauce.
Yes.
If you think you can have me or any of my family, you are very much mistaken. I will do whatever it takes. You understand me? I will have you.
Shut up, Heaven's sake!
Yes.
Stop it! Now stop it!
I'm sorry about that. Yes.
Chastity Dingle, I'm arresting you for assault.
I mean it. I will have you.
Not half as frightening in real life, I tell you. Hi, Lucy, how are you?
Good morning, I'm okay.
Hello, and Susan as well. Very good morning to you.
Good
She's
morning.
very good, isn't she, on stage?
Yes, she is very good.
How-
Yes.
was she very good very young as well? Did you see it very early in her?
Very early, from about the age of 3 or 4. She loved her dancing and her singing, and she liked performing.
We like, you see, she's used to being on TV. Yeah, I don't think you've been on TV too
No, I
much
haven't.
yourself,
No.
Really well, bless her.
Tell us more about her when she was little.
Well, she loved her dancing and her singing.
You're being really nice about me this morning.
Yeah, but was she rotten and bad-tempered and a right cow sometimes?
She liked a lot of attention. And then when she was a teenager, she was horrendous. But as you can see, it stood her in good stead, really, because she's turned out quite
Yeah, you turned
quite
out
good.
very, very, very
Why
good.
she horrendous? She's a bit mouthy, a bit cheeky.
Yes, but then she used to disappear and come back, and
Oh my goodness
and I
me,
wasn't
it's all
ever quite
out.
sure what she was doing.
Yeah.
Oh.
On holiday at the moment from Emmerdale, eh, for a little bit? Got a bit
Yeah, I
of
had 2 weeks off. It's annual leave, so I'm off on screen, then I'm back on.
And what's the next thing for you when you come back?
Oh, I can't tell you that.
But it's still ongoing,
It's
isn't it?
ongoing. It's the ongoing murder trial. It's the ongoing whodunit, which is fantastic.
Forever drama, forever crisis. Now, tell me about little Lola, because, you know, do you obviously help as well, do you?
Yes, yes, I do. I see a lot
This is
of her.
little Lola here. She's 19 months old.
Bless her.
And there's a bear behind her who's a great friend.
That's her wrestling bear. She likes to wrestle.
Oh,
Mum
sweetheart.
comes up on Mondays and Tuesdays to look after Lola when I'm at work.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the other granny, Maggie, takes over Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So it's fantastic.
How
it works out
important
really
is
well.
that to have a bit of a support network going?
No,
Because
it's
quite
great.
something, isn't it?
Yeah, because Mum comes up all the way from Nottingham to Leeds, so it's great. It just means that we can go to work and we're fine and we know she's safe.
Yeah, and how supportive was Mum when you were going through what you were going through in teenage years, trying to get ahead? Because you were in Paper Dolls.
Yeah, that was
That was
early
a little
20s.
girl band, wasn't
yeah,
it?
that was my girl band phase in when I was early 20s, late teens, early 20s. But yeah, my teenage years were just full of
me being rather rotten, rather naughty. But I think it's kind of held me in good stead, and Chaz is kind of based on my teenage years, really.
Oh, really? You could look back. But it's important to have that sort of wide experience, isn't it? I mean, you were always there to support her. I mean, that's a great help. I've got these daughters growing up now, 14 and 12.
Yeah.
You don't know what direction they're going to take, really, do you?
No, and I think it's most important that the mum is always around, and she knows she can always come back home if she wants to.
Yeah, that was what was fantastic about my mum. You know, she knew that I was making all these mistakes, but she let me make them, really. She was always there to kind of cry on your shoulder, but you just kind of went, look, you're going to go down the wrong path, but we're going to let you do it because you'll learn from it.
Yes. I couldn't have stopped her, really.
No, you couldn't stop me.
Couldn't have, or wouldn't
no,
have?
Couldn't have.
You couldn't have. She's actually a force of nature, isn't she? Isn't she, Lucy? Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, thank you ever so much for coming in this morning, and you're an absolute example, aren't you, really? There's a great little support network up there, and Lola's in great hands. Are we actually going to marry this girl off at some point?
I have no idea. Again, I never make any decisions for Lucy. She always makes her own decisions.
Yeah, Rudy and Lola are watching telly at the moment, in bed, I think, so good morning.
And having somebody in the public eye in your family, do you ever have to sort of listen to a little bit of criticism or anything like that? And how do you take that? Because she's famous.
Yes. No, I don't hear any criticism, actually.
I think the most embarrassing thing for her is when the paper lady at the local paper shop saves all the papers, but then ones that my mum wouldn't necessarily get.
Right.
So that's a bit embarrassing for her, I think.
Yeah, she'll say, I don't know whether you want this one or not.
Yes.
But I've saved it for you.
That's excellent. Well, you can filter it out before Lucy either gets it or doesn't. Thank you ever so much for coming in this morning.
Thank
Lovely
you.
to see you. If you want to nominate your mum, please tell us why you think she should be considered. Send the details with a recent photo, if you wouldn't mind, to this address. It's Britain's Best Mum, Gmtv, PO Box 12789, London SE1 9EW.
Yes, or you can email us your story via the website at gm.tv. Unfortunately, we won't be able to return any pictures, and the closing date is Friday, the 16th of February.
We've run out of envelopes and we've run out of music as well.
It's
just one of those things. My mum used to watch me play tennis, and one time in Bristol, I was losing and being badly behaved. You wouldn't believe it of me, would you? But there was somebody next to her that said, that boy's terribly badly behaved and he needed to have been spanked when he was a kid and he wouldn't be behaving like that. She was mortified.
Oh.
It's not easy.
Who'd be Andrew Castle's mum, let's be honest.
Poor girl, poor Lynn.
Your daughters can get away with a lot, I think.
Yeah, well, I did.
OK, let's bring up to date with the main headlines you're waking up to this morning now. And a British Muslim soldier is understood to be in protective custody this morning after police foiled an apparent attempt to kidnap him. 9 people are under arrest in Coventry after raids on a dozen addresses in Birmingham. Air passenger duty goes up by 100% today, meaning travellers will have to pay an extra £10 on a short-haul flight and £40 on long-haul. And today's weather, a chilly, misty start in the south, giving way to sunshine, especially in the east. It'll be mild everywhere too, with highs of 14 Celsius. Eastern Scotland will also have another mild day. Now, loft extensions usually guarantee a room with a view, but the neighbours of a naturist couple in Wiltshire could find themselves a little more than they bargained for. Jonathan Swain joins us from Mere in Wiltshire. Morning, Jonathan. Ooh.
No tie today, then?
Yes. Casually dressed.
Yeah, I'm casually dressed today, dressing down today, but I have to say I can't believe I'm actually standing here in just my dressing gown in weather like this. Let me tell you, it's rather a cold morning, but John and Mary over here think nothing of getting their kit off and jumping into their hot tub. They're naturists, and they don't normally look the shy and retiring sort, but all of this could come to an end. Let me tell you a few bare facts about this story, because their neighbours want to build a loft extension on their home just over there. Now, John and Mary believe that it'll come with a nice view, but their view will be of John and Mary sitting in their hot tub. So let's go and have a chat to them now. And unfortunately, Kate and Andrew, the time has come for me to reveal all. The dressing gown has got to come off, but while I make my way into... Thank you very much. Yes, lots of applause, I think. Just go away while I try and make my way into the hot tub over here. And how do I look, John and Mary, this morning?
Wonderful, wonderful.
Not looking too bad?
Yeah, I know, we've seen worse.
I have to say, I feel as if I've seen more than enough of you two this morning. But so why are you objecting to this then? I mean, you're quite outgoing, aren't you? A natural? What?
We are, yeah. We're not scared to sort of undress in public, really. But We've set this garden up over the last 5 years to be as we want it to be. I mean, the hot tub's something we've worked hard to get, and it's a bit of a luxury. And with it being overlooked, you know, we're going to lose the privacy that we've enjoyed for the last 5 years. And also, they're only doing the house up to sell it on. It's likely to sell to a family, and then they'll probably have children that looking out the windows at us, and you know, they're going to start complaining. So it's not the fact that we're shy of being seen, it's the fact that, you know, it could cause all sorts of problems.
So Mary, why not just wear your clothes? Come on. Put a bikini on.
We really do enjoy naturism. It's a really nice feeling of freedom, and so that's why we do it.
Is what all naturists do? Do they all have hot tubs like this in their garden?
No, we're very lucky. We're very lucky to have a hot tub in our
I feel
garden.
something touching my leg. Is that the soap, John?
I should imagine so, yes.
Just as well. So you don't actually know the neighbours yet, do they? Because that house is actually empty at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, we have met them, but they've never lived there, and I don't think they intend to live there ever. They've just bought it to develop it and into the biggest house they can, as in as many bedrooms they can put in.
And what do your friends think of you doing this kind of thing? Because you are literally, I've got to tell the viewers, you're sitting here with not a stitch of clothing on, aren't you?
That's right.
We're completely naked this morning.
Yeah, that's it. No, a lot of friends join in. Well, all of them do, really. As I say, we don't really allow them in the hot tub unless they undress completely, and it's quite easily accepted by everybody. They get used to it, and most people prefer it when they've tried it. You know,
so it's been nice to kind of meet you this morning and see you, and I think we should give them a bit of a treat at home, do you not think, Kate and Andrew? Yeah. After 3 we all want to jump up. 1, 2, 3. No, I wouldn't do that to you, don't worry. I think that's a little bit too much for you this morning.
Yeah, you could pretend you're naked, Jonathan, but we caught a glimpse of your shorts. He's just such an English gent at heart, isn't he?
Nice long johns, mate.
I'm quite shy and retiring, really.
I know. Jonathan Swoon, they call him upstairs. The whole nation would have been swooning if that had been real, wouldn't it?
Do you always wear blue under there, Jonathan? Do you always wear blue?
Yeah, I've gone for the blue look this morning, yeah, but believe you me, these two aren't wearing anything at all, so it is quite a sight.
Great assignment this morning for you. Bravo.
That look said it all. OK, thanks very much indeed, Jonathan. Richard Arnold, now there's somebody you definitely want to keep the clothes on. He's going to be here to tell us about a brand new comedy set in Benidorm. And I hope we're not all like this. Let's have a look.
Do you mind if we join you? The Germans will be down in a minute, and the females can be a bit whiffy this time of the morning. I've nothing against overweight women per se, but not when they smell of sausage.
No, that would be off-putting. Who picked that clip?
Oh, I don't know. It's all marvellous, isn't it? OK, here's your chance to win £20,000.
What's the name of the reality show set in an Australian jungle? Is it A, Big Brother, B, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, or C, Pop Idol? You can dial 090 68 100 100. That's 090 68 100 100, or text A, B or C as your answer, plus your full name and address to 81149. Or you can enter via the website, either online or on your mobile.
TV Pick of the Day is sponsored by Lotus Thirst Pockets with technology.
Just gone 10 to 8, and here is Richard Arnold. Morning.
Good morning, sir.
Benidorm, tell me about it. Apparently it's brilliant. Is it as good as they say?
It is cracking. It's from the same school as Catherine Tatum. By that I mean it's co-written by Darren Little, and it is absolutely superb. If you've ever been to Benidorm, now I've been fortunate enough to go twice, once with Sue Cleaver of Coronation Street, of course, when we were filming for Telly Towers here, and it was an absolute riot. If you've ever been to Benidorm, in fact, if you've ever been to the Costas, frankly, on any one of those fly and flop holidays, you know these characters. The Daily Mail calls them grotesque. I just say it's a laugh a minute. Now, I'm not advocating drinking before you watch it. Clearly, I always like a little, gin and tonic before the yard arm in the morning, and I have to say I watched the whole series, and it does help if you watch it through a sort of gin-soaked haze, like you are actually in the sun. Superb. We've got the chain-smoking granny in a wheelchair, who is Poison Ivy on wheels. Johnny Vegas, who's there with his mum. He's the Oracle. He's a quiz show champion from the north. He's there with his mother, who's his PA. It's absolutely cracking. It all happens by the pool and at Neptune's, where if you want to drink, you shake your wrist. If you want to get sloshed, take a look.
What do you think you're doing? I told you to be careful.
He'll have ruined that football top I bought him.
Are you all right?
It's rubbish here. Of course he's all right. He's just playing silly beggars. Ooh, you're a big fat lad, aren't you?
cannot recommend it enough. There's so much sort of, you know, we talk about Ugly Betty and all these stateside imports. I have to say, this is the best programme I have seen this year.
Fantastic.
You'll enjoy it.
High praise indeed.
High praise indeed.
And before that, yes, go ahead.
Bonkers, Lisa Tarbuck, who I absolutely adore. This comes from another great pedigree, Sally Wainwright, who wrote The Braithwaites and most recently The Amazing Mrs. Pritchard, which wasn't quite as amazing as we had hoped. I have to say Bonkers does go a little bit bonkers when Lisa Tarbuck finds herself in the company of a young actor who's in a coma. I don't want to spoil it for you, that's the twist at the end of tonight's episode, but it's all kicking off in the suburbs. Bit of a swinging theme this morning, isn't there? Take a look.
I have started to wonder.
Go on.
If she has... what? Tendencies.
I think he's a puff.
I think she's a lesbian.
Marcus? Yeah.
Imelda?
Gay? Yeah.
There isn't a Duff performance, but, you know, a la Braithwaites, it does sort of twist and turn and goes off into this sort of parallel universe. But if you love Sally Wainwright, you love the Braithwaites, you'll thoroughly enjoy this.
OK, and at the same time, 9 o'clock, BBC One.
5 days.
Yes.
For some of us, it feels like 5 weeks. The BBC's altogether classier contribution to tonight's schedule rattles to a conclusion, and Penelope Wilton has been absolutely superb. If you've been following it, it's about a young mum who disappears after leaving her children in a lay-by. Penelope Wilton is her mother, and here she has a cheeky little deathbed scene with her father. Take a look.
You never even liked me. And I was so dense I didn't see it till Leanne was born. And you and Mum came to see me in this hospital. And you took that baby in your arms. And I saw you fall in love with her. And my heart broke.
I love Penelope Wilton, superb actress.
A bit heavier there.
But I have to say, it is all about Benidorm tonight.
It's all
It's all about Benidorm tonight.
All right.
10 o'clock.
OK, well, it's nice and warm outside here, actually. It's not Benidorm weather, but here's Claire with the details.
GMTV weather, sponsored by Nestlé Shredded Wheat. Shredded wheat and hot milk. They're a perfect winter warm-up.
Hello, good morning. Still a very mild day on the cards. Temperatures today probably up into the mid-teens. Can you believe it? For the beginning of February, all going to change though as we head through the weekend, turning colder and also crisper. But you will be seeing some sunshine, a lot of cloud covering the country this morning. It's actually producing the odd spot or two of drizzle, particularly across western areas of Scotland, Northern Ireland, down towards northwest England, Wales, as well as the West Country. Now to the east of that, we're seeing 1 or 2 breaks in the cloud, allowing a little bit of sunshine, also some mist and murk through the first few hours of this morning. Eastern areas of Scotland not doing too badly at all. A similar situation as we head through the afternoon. You can see here always more cloud in the west, less in the east, and that's where the highest temperatures will be again today. Somewhere like Aberdeen or Dundee coming in around 14, perhaps even a 15 degrees Celsius. That's up into the high 50s Fahrenheit. Watch out for the sort of drizzle across this western side. It could actually clip Northern Ireland for a time. It should break up through the afternoon, but southwest Scotland, unfortunately, you will continue to see the cloud. Southeast Scotland and northeast England doing very well indeed, and those temperatures reflecting that up into the low teens. Very good for this time of year. Western parts of the world seeing some damp conditions, but inland not too bad at all. In fact, the cloud breaking up right across the Midlands as well as the southeast East Anglia. And I think that will help temperatures up to around 10, 11, 12 degrees Celsius. The south coast seeing a hint of sunshine, more in the way of cloud as we head down towards the West Country, particularly on that north coast there. It could actually be a little bit damp. Now, last night temperatures held up because of all the cloud. Not the same tonight into tomorrow. In fact, over the next few nights, we're talking hard frost here. We're talking temperatures down perhaps as low as -3 and -4 degrees Celsius. So certainly winter is back with a vengeance, and it will continue to be as we head through next week. The rain clears off the scene tomorrow. It's a bit of a damp start for some, but then look at this. Clear skies, the sunshine, temperatures in single figures, and the wind coming in from a northwesterly direction. So a bit of a breeze. And if you're in the shelter, not feeling too bad. A similar situation as we head into Saturday and Sunday. Saturday's looking great for everyone. Enjoy, head outside, enjoy the winter sunshine. And then slowly things do change on Sunday. We see a little front come in. This is going to produce a little bit of cloud and perhaps some rain across this zone here. And then the wind turns round and we're expecting some wintry showers as we head into next week. Here's your summary. For your local weekend weather, visit our website, gm.tv.
Good morning from Baghdad to Birmingham. That's the live scene in the Midlands today, where army heroes are thought to be the new targets for terrorists.
Trains, planes and now stem cells. Richard Branson enters the controversial world of stem cell research. He's not making any money out of it, so is this to be his legacy?
You mean such
Well, we've all had them, but is this really the all-time bad hair day? She's the distraught bride who's the internet sensation. We'll be comparing bad hair stories in this half hour. That's all to come Thursday, the 1st of February, 2007. Good morning, you're watching GMTV today. It's almost 8 o'clock. Good to have you with us.
An explosive EastEnders storyline to talk about. Carly and Dino Wicks have found out their dad isn't their dad. A little bit upsetting. Actors Matt D'Angelo and Kelly Shirley join us at about 8:20 this morning.
And we're also live down under to give you another chance of winning £20,000. Lots to come.
First, though, a British Muslim soldier is understood to be in protective custody this morning after police foiled an apparent attempt to kidnap and execute him.
Yes, community figures in Birmingham say they're shocked by the raids yesterday on 12 addresses in the city and the arrest of 9 people. They're expected to be questioned by police today. John Stapleton is in the Alum Rock area of Birmingham. Good morning, John.
Good morning to you, Kate. As you can see, still a police presence here in Alum Rock, where some of those now in custody were arrested yesterday. Amongst them, a young man who worked at the shop behind me, described as an extremely hard-working gentleman who only left this country once, and that was to go back abroad to India to marry the woman who eventually became his wife, and only left his shop to support Liverpool Football Club. Not the sort of man who would involve himself in terrorism, say the locals. And when I was wandering around here last night, I have to say I came up against shock, I came against anger, and some resentment from people who resent the fact that the police have once again targeted this area, as they did in 2005 and in 2006, when terror raids were made elsewhere in the country and certain people in the Asian community were taken in for questioning. And they quote Forest Gate, what happened there some time ago when two Muslims were questioned by police. One of them was shot. No one was ever charged, as the foundation for their concern about the police activity. And across the country, across Birmingham as well this morning, a variety of reactions to these raids yesterday which shocked the world.
I'm glad the police have gone in hard, and yes, I am worried about the fact that individuals are being targeted, and it is quite worrying.
I'm a Muslim myself, and a lot of people feel under threat, or you know, they feel that Muslims are being unfairly treated.
I just think it's getting worse, and you don't feel like so safe, do you know, going around Birmingham or anywhere for that matter.
And in the Birmingham Post this morning, a picture of the young British Muslim soldier said to be the target of this plot, a man who served his country well in Afghanistan, his name withheld and his face obliterated for obvious reasons. Meanwhile, over in Coventry, where the 9 suspects are being held, the police are saying this is the beginning of a very, very serious and major investigation. We are merely in the foothills of this investigation, in the words of the Assistant Chief Constable of the West Midlands Police. That's it from me for this morning. Back to you, Kate and Andrew, in the studio.
John, thanks very much indeed. Just after 8 o'clock, let's get the rest of the news now. Here's Penny at the news desk.
Thanks very much. Good morning. Patient safety is the #1 complaint against the NHS. A new health watchdog report shows it features in 1/4 of all complaints. Richard Gaisford is at Tameside General Hospital in Ashton-under-Lyne in Lancashire. Richard.
Well, more than 100,000 people complain about their treatment on the NHS every year, and most of those complaints are dealt with locally, but some 8,000 need to be referred for independent national review by the Healthcare Commission, and the figures out today show us that some 1/4 of all of those complaints are about patient safety. The rest are about the level of care people have received, the cleanliness of the hospital, and perhaps the lack of information that's been passed on. Now, one of those complaints was about Joseph Holt, 83 years old when he arrived here at Tameside General Hospital, came in with a stomach complaint, and they quickly diagnosed him as having a urinary infection. But he never really got the level of care he desperately needed and died very quickly.
He had no antibiotics at all for a week, even though they'd done blood tests, and these blood tests did actually show that he had a really nasty infection. So he had no antibiotics for a week, and he did die of an infection.
Well, the Healthcare Commission upheld Carol Booth's complaint against this hospital, and the local MP is sitting on a dossier of 120 other complaints by families about poor care here at Tameside General.
Richard Gaisford. Air passenger duty goes up by 100% today. It means travellers will have to pay an extra £10 on short-haul flights and £40 on long-haul. And you may have to pay even if you bought tickets before the rise was announced in December. The number of schools in England judged to be failing went up by 17% last term. By the end of December, Ofsted inspectors had put 243 schools in the bottom category, which could mean they face closure. Primary schools were the worst, but Ofsted blames a rise in standards rather than poor performance. And finally, a woman in Mexico has given birth to a baby the size of a 3-month-old child. Baby Antonio weighed in at a rather large 14 pounds and is almost 2 foot long. That's 55 centimetres and just over 6 kilos in new money. Luckily for his mother, he was born by caesarean section. It's 4 minutes past 8. That's it from me. Here they are.
Thank you very much indeed.
Good
Ouch.
grief.
Hair disasters. My husband trimmed my hair once. It was such a mess I started
you shouldn't
crying.
give a man a pair of scissors the best of times, let alone let them do your hair.
She hit him with the hairbrush because he didn't do a good enough job. So from the men's side, don't cut their hair. He was just laughing, which didn't help. Right. Jodie in Newbury says, my sister's getting married today. She's just watched that bride's hair disaster and now is a little bit worried. Please.
Yes, that's the reason why we talk about hair days. This poor bride has posted her trauma on the internet because she came back to the hairdresser, found her hair wasn't what she wanted, and tried to cut it herself to make it better. And well, it all ended in tears, as you might imagine it would do. So I don't know. If you've got any hair disasters or bad hair day stories, do let us know. We'd love to hear from you.
8:05 is the time. Back in just a moment. Here's what's happening where you are.
Good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News from ITV Granada. First, the funeral's taking place today of a soldier from Cheshire who was killed in Iraq. 21-year-old Kingsman Alex Green from the Duke of Lancaster Regiment was shot dead after escorting a convoy out of Basra last month. A service will be held in Warrington this morning. Liverpool Football Club are now considering their options after the Dubai consortium who wanted to buy the club pulled out. Only a few days ago, Dubai International Capital looked close to a deal, but the club's also been approached by American billionaire George Gillette, who owns a Canadian ice hockey team. It's thought he's offering more money.
Given that the Gillette bid appears to be more money per share, then other shareholders, even if David Moores was happy, were bound to engage in conversations about whether this should be looked at in more detail. So I'll bet the Dubai guys are pretty annoyed, but there's a kind of logic to this.
A driver from Lancashire who escaped a speeding fine after challenging the accuracy of a speed gun has now been banned from driving. Brian Wiltshire was originally fined for doing 39 in a 30 zone, but he successfully proved the speed gun hadn't been set up properly. But in court for a separate incident, he's now been fined and banned from the road for 6 weeks after being caught doing 130 miles an hour on the M6 near Kendal. The parents of a 7-year-old boy with a rare condition are appealing to thieves who've stolen some of their most precious memories. Keir Platt from Bolton is unable to walk or talk. Now a camera with photos of when he was well and of his recent birthday has been stolen. His family says it's vital they get it back.
They're really, really important for us, for memories, because obviously Keir isn't well, and some of the photographs on the camera are photographs of when he was better. We want them back for precious memories, really, because we're not quite sure how long or how many birthdays is going to be.
Football now, and in last night's Premiership there were mixed fortunes for the region's sides. Manchester United dismissed Watford 4-0 at Old Trafford, whilst Chelsea proved just too strong for Blackburn. Rovers lost 3-0 at Stamford Bridge. Bolton held Charlton to a 1-1 draw. That's it for now. I'll be back at 11:10. Time now for a look at the region's weather.
Relief for dry, chapped hands when they need it most. Nivea Hand SOS Intensive Balm.
Most places will see a cloudy morning with a chance of a few spots of light rain. It'll stay that way through the afternoon, although a few brighter, sunnier spells are expected in the southeast of the region. Highs of 11 Celsius, 45 Fahrenheit.
It's 8 minutes past 8. Good to see you this morning. Now, we're talking about stem cell research now, because if indications are right, stem cells could be the key to curing a number of really serious illnesses. And this morning, with tycoon Richard Branson's launching a new business to offer parents the chance to store stem cells from the umbilical cord of their newborn babies. Now, the idea is not without its critics. So let's take Rachel Harrison, will take us through the arguments.
It's seen by many as an extra insurance policy for parents. Currently in the UK, 11,000 families have saved their stem cells in private banks. It's also available in a handful of NHS hospitals. But it's new territory for the UK's most famous entrepreneur. So why is it so important and so controversial?
Scientific development is moving in leaps and bounds. It's hoped that stem cells found in the umbilical cord could in the future help prevent diseases like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, heart disease and cancer.
The cord blood is processed and tested before being frozen and can be kept for up to 20 years. But not everyone is on board with the idea. In France and Italy, the procedure is illegal and many fear that the technique could lead to human cloning. The procedure also comes at a price. Parents will need to find £1,500 if they want to guard against their child's future.
Right, well, Sir Richard Branson is with us now, I'm pleased to say. Why are you doing this? Why are you getting involved in this?
Well, about 6 years ago, the head of the National Blood Bank, or a very senior director of the National Blood Bank, came to see me and said that the NHS did not have enough money to store enough stem cells to protect a lot of children, and a lot of children were dying unnecessarily. And could we, our charitable foundation, put some money towards it? So we offered to put £3 million in. The NHS actually turned the money down because they said it was difficult to take money from a private source, even although it was charity. And then since then, we've known children who've died unnecessarily because they haven't been able to get a stem cell match. So basically, you know, we have a charitable foundation at Virgin. We've decided if we can collect thousands and thousands more of these wonderful little, you know, lumps of blood which would otherwise be thrown away at birth, we can put them into the National Blood Bank, so they can help every mother and every child that are watching this programme. We could also put some of it aside so that as regenerative medicine has breakthroughs, that it can help the specific child in the future.
OK, so just to look at that then. So you say it could help every mother and child. So the idea would be then that you'd have these stem cells which you can generate all sorts of things from, as you say, you know, all sorts of organs that, as you say, in the future we might be able to replace bits that are falling off us or not working, possibly.
I think the immediate reason for them is leukemia, sickle cell anemia,
terrible Parkinson's, things like that. But how would it work then practically? Sorry, it's just so people would ring up this bank and say, "Do you have something that matches my cells?" Is that what you're saying?
If somebody's got leukemia today, they will be able to go into this bank and find out whether they've got a match. Now, it most likely will be that they'll want a match that is not actually their own blood at all. So actually, the bigger the blood the bank can be, the more likelihood there is going to be a match, particularly amongst the ethnic community, where you know you need that many more stored in order for them to find it.
OK, so you're doing this as an act of goodwill. Is good works on your part, or is it for profit?
No, all the profits that the Virgin Group will make from this will go back into research, will go back into charitable research.
So it's a good thing to do in terms of your part. It's a good thing for you to do. We all can reward you for trying to make an effort. But is it right that somebody in private enterprise should be getting involved in this? There's still lots of medical professionals that are not convinced, are they, that this is the right way forward? You have the report from the RCOG that says it's not necessarily a good way forward. There's not convinced that could help in the future. Money could be taken off people that, let's be honest, just giving birth to a baby, you want to do everything to protect that lovely little life, don't you? And actually, it might not actually go anywhere apart from making money, and for those for people like you that believe in it.
Well, I mean, the only reason I'm doing it is because I think it'll save a lot of lives, and it was actually the director from the NHS that came to us to ask us, said that the NHS has not got enough money to collect enough stem cells to save lives. They've only got 7,000, I believe, stem cells collected, and they've been going since 1996. So if we can double or triple or quadruple that, that would be good news. Now, the profits we're going to make, or a good chunk of the profits, will go to the Anti-Nolan Trust, and they're going to set up a separate stem cell bank, which will just look after the ethnic minority groups that.
So others will benefit.
So people will benefit.
Do you know somebody that has suffered, that would have benefited from this sort of?
I've had plenty of letters from people who have not been able to get matches. I've also known people, the lovely babies who were dying, who managed to get a match from a stem cell and who've lived. So, you know, at our press conference this morning, we've got a number of doctors coming who, you know, who've been involved in the miracle of this little bag of blood saving lives. And so I think.
What about those who fear cloning, fear social engineering, fear that the way this is going, money's now involved? They'll be saying, "Oh my goodness, an entrepreneur is involved. Where's this all going to lead?"
Well, look, I mean, one of the reasons we decided to give all our profits to good causes was you know, to make sure that you know, people didn't sort of think of this as a, you know, somebody being greedy and trying to capitalise on it. I mean, if you go back in history, you'll find that, you know, when people were looking at complicated things like heart transplants, you know, they just said, you know, it's a waste of money. Now, you know, 400 or 500 people a year are benefiting from having heart transplants. You know, I think that it's important that we push. You know, if your child was ill, you would want, you know, you would want somebody else's stem cells to save your child's life, and you most likely would actually need 2 or 3 lots of stem cells to save your child's life. And I think you'll be very grateful that the bank was there.
So is this your legacy in a way? This is your, I've taken out of society, I've got my money. And
we have a foundation that is doing quite a lot of things around the world. I mean, I suppose a lot of it's in Africa, but you know, we're building a hospital and you know, we're building a college for students that are under, you know, out of the townships and so on. So, you know, Virgin is very successful. You know, we can give back.
Well, good for you. And what little adventures have you got planned? This is not a personal thing, because you know you're off to do something daring, and you may need a little bit of some stem cells banked away for yourself.
No, obviously we're working on the space program, which is going to be very exciting, and that'll be ready in two years. But in the meantime, grinding on with things like this.
Good grief. Okay, well, good to speak to you this morning.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Take us with you.
You're very welcome to come.
Some would say we're floating around space already. Now, if you want more information on stem cell research, you can find out more on our website. That's gm.tv online. And now on your mobile, just text the word mobile to 81189 and follow the instructions there.
We're off for a couple of minutes now. Still to come, is this the ultimate bad hair day? Take a look at this poor love here. It's a bride who rather lost the plot on the biggest day of her life. Have you had a bad hair day?
Richard Branson's never had a day like this, have you? Look at you, look at that perfect coiffure.
You've never taken the scissors to yourself for a quick trim in a hotel room?
No, you never chopped a bit off, have you?
My son has taken the whole lot off when he had a bad hair day.
So. Were you asleep at the time, or you were...
Well, send us your, excuse me, bad hair day stories. You speak, I'm dying, clearly.
Secret and Light is what we're talking about. We're talking about EastEnders. Kelly, Shirley and Matt D'Angelo, who play Carly and Dino, they're going to be with us in just a couple of minutes. So, see you then.
Hi there, the main headlines you're waking up to this morning are that a British Muslim soldier is understood to be in protective custody this morning after police foiled an apparent attempt to kidnap him. 9 people are under arrest in Coventry after raids on a dozen addresses in Birmingham. Air passenger duty goes up by 100% today, meaning travellers will have to pay an extra £10 on a short-haul flight and £40 on long-haul. And today's weather, a chilly, misty start in the south, giving way to sunshine, especially in the east. It's going to be mild in those areas too, with highs of 14 Celsius. Eastern Scotland will also have another mild day.
OK, competition time. You could win £20,000. Hello, Jono. Still having a good time?
Beautiful time here. Listen, we're here at the sheep station. We're at Maruda at the old Tobruk sheep station. I'll just get rid of this piece of wood. There you go. Whoops, sorry about that. OK, we're having a fantastic time. Who needs X Factor when you got all this? All my kids, say good day, guys. We got the band, we got the sheep, we got the token girl over there with a horse, and I've got the damper that's been cooked in the fire. Hey, my boomerang just came back. Your boomerang just... Anyway, what we're going to do here, basically, is give you £20,000 if you can answer a question. That's right, £20,000 and some beautiful Australian sunshine. Here is the question for you, ladies and gentlemen. What's the name of the reality TV show set in the Australian jungle? Is it A, Big Brother, B, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, or C, Pop Idol? If you think you know the answer, have a go at this. You can dial 090 68 100 100. That's 090 68 100 100 or text A, B or C as your answer, plus your full name and address to 81149. Or you can enter via the website, either online or on your mobile. Hey, OK, good luck with that. Oh, my boomerang came back again. We'll let you know who's won at the end of the show. Say goodbye, folks. Hello, UK. Here we go, sing along. And the money stuck on the la 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 la. Come on, click, go the shears.
Oh, wonderful. How the modern, young, sort of metrosexual Australian feels about that imagery of projecting
Yeah, we
this morning.
thought the boomerang may come back. It may have been a prop. Nice one, Jono.
Brilliant.
9 o'clock to enter. You've got until Lorraine will reveal the winner. Should we talk about EastEnders now? It's on again tonight. The secret is out. Carly and Dino Wicks have just found out that Kevin's not their real dad. This is how it unravelled.
I did want to tell you, every day I thought about saying something, but how do you go about doing something like that, eh? Telling your kids, the people that you love.
Dad, tell us what?
Well, oh, heaven help me. But I'm not your dad.
That is a bit of a shock. Yeah, was that doof, 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 doof there? That's the doof doof moment. Kelly, Shelley, Matt D'Angelo, who play Carly and Dino, with us now. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Was that the first doof 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 you had?
Oh no, it wasn't actually. I think I had a car crash.
Oh yeah,
before,
car crash as well.
That was the first one, but I was unconscious. So I don't know if it counts.
No. You've got to be there to hear it. Now, what a revelation! Both got different dads. Only Jimbo was Kevin's real son. How do you both react to that now?
Just kind of, I think from Dino's character, kind of just goes off the rails. I mean, it's a big thing to kind of get revealed to you, isn't it? So I think we act differently though, because you're a bit more mature than me.
A bit.
In real life?
Oh, yeah, in both.
But also, like, in real life, when we found out that Phil wasn't going to be our dad, we got really upset, didn't we?
I was quite upset.
We were like, Phil Daniels isn't going to be our dad.
Yeah, too bad. Too bad. Now, you have a little family dinner, don't you, tonight? I think you have a little family... I mean, that's nice and straightforward, is it? Don't you turn on...
Nice and straightforward.
In
no.
EastEnders?
No, never. It's
What
not nice
happens?
and straightforward.
What goes on, roughly? Give us an outline.
Well, I go for a drink with Auntie Pat and this young lady here. She it doesn't go to plan, put it that way.
No, it gets all quite emotional and lots of snot acting and crying, and it's really good.
What's it like to be in something which is just so familiar to so many people? What was it like? Because you've been in for a year now, haven't you?
Yeah, almost.
How's it been that year? Has it been life-changing or not? I mean, I know you guys were in plenty beforehand, but you're still young. Did it change things?
I mean, I suppose because it's probably the same as you, because you're in people's front rooms like so much, 3-4 times a week. Like, people do sometimes feel that they know you.
And how do you? And how nice, or?
Yeah, if they're nice. Sometimes it can be a bit weird, like being followed and around shop. If you're getting your supermarket stuff.
There's good and bad parts to everything, isn't there? It's just kind of, it's been very strange. I mean, it's been a crazy year. It's kind of from going from no one knew to be in a household kind of name and face. It's strange, but it's
and
enjoyable.
you do get some nice things that happen to you, like some nice freebies and things.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice, isn't it?
That's
That's to the victor goes the spoiled. Now, you get given a mentor, don't you, when you join EastEnders? And your mentor, I don't know how long that lasts for, maybe forever. But wasn't it Barbara Windsor for you?
Yeah. Well,
That's
I
amazing.
hope it lasts forever. And if she's watching, then you've got me for life. You've adopted me.
Well, you did very well. You got Ricky.
I got Ricky Groves, which I just learnt a load of jokes, really. He's a hilarious guy. And I think everyone kind of helps you out when you first get there, and it's people find it hard to believe for some reason, but we're all really, really close. Everyone there, we all kind of work together, and we're all just like a big extended family.
Yeah, well, you have to be if you're going to work that hard, because it is quite grueling now, isn't it? It's not so straightforward, is it? You don't just go in for half a day anymore, you go in full time.
It's a heavy schedule, but I think it shows how much hard everyone works in there.
Well, people will have made up their own mind at home, but you almost became Britain's, what was that one? The sexiest male at the British Soap Awards.
Almost.
Mate, who won that in the end?
Pipped at the post.
Who won that at the end?
Richard Leesman.
Oh, well, fair enough.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Wow. You've got over that, haven't you, Matt?
Well, I don't know if I have, actually. I don't know.
Still bitter.
Yeah. twisted. No. Yeah, it's fine.
I don't know if folks can see at home. Matt's got incredible hair. Look, just turn them all around that way. Look at that sweep.
It's not done, really.
You could surf
out of
on
bed.
that. That's amazing. We've been talking about bad hair days, actually.
It was familiar. That VT was familiar. I mean, it's pretty much like Kelly every morning at work. Yeah, she's really.
I'm just that woman's husband. He's just got married to that.
Yeah, I know. The other way around.
Did you get married in the end? Do you reckon they went through with it?
I don't know. If the whole thing might have been a setup, but we're not sure. We're going to talk about it in a couple of minutes.
We are, actually. We'll talk about that next, but we take there we go, that's it. 2 million people have shared that poor woman's misery.
Yeah.
We're finding out if you've had a bad hair day. Coming up next, but we should say thank you very much to you two.
Indeed.
Thank
you. 1 year down, 25 more to go. Thank you very much indeed. Right, if you fancy being your own boss, we've got some advice for you this morning, just if you fancy it this morning. John McWilliams.
When setting up your own business, be sure that the opening in the market is big enough. Once you've got an idea, research it, but you'll need to keep one step ahead of the competition. So make sure your idea is properly patented before you start telling the world about it. Remember, the most powerful form of communicating your business is word of mouth. Try and set up a simple website and register your business with a reputable search engine, so your name appears whenever people key in something relevant to what you're offering. Keep your bank manager informed. You never know when you might need their help, and they hate nasty surprises. Time really is money, so make sure you plan and prioritise your commitments. The most testing time for most new businesses is the first 3 years, so don't give up.
I'm really loving the Freedom Flexi Time.
Work Guru, in association with Manpower. What do you do?
Hello there, coming up on today's show. Now, you might recognise him better with his clothes off, but full Monty star Mark Addy joins me to talk about why he's going bonkers with Lisa Tarbuck. Also, the spring-summer collections are hitting the high streets right now, and Mark Hayes has chosen his favourites for his fashion must-haves. That and loads more. I'll see you later.
Gmtv weather, sponsored by Nestle Shredded Wheat. Shredded wheat and hot milk. They're a perfect winter warm-up.
Hello there. Well, it's going to be another mild day today wherever you are. This morning we're seeing a little bit of brightness across eastern Scotland, down towards eastern England as well as central southern England. Lots of low misty clouds should tend to burn off through the morning. Elsewhere there's a lot of cloud about, in fact some dampness across this western side of Scotland and Northern Ireland and down sort of the fringes of Wales down towards the West Country, and through the day little change really. Most of us seeing a little bit of blue sky in the east, more cloud in the west. If you're lucky you could see some across Northern Ireland, and temperatures at the very best coming in around 14 Celsius. Can you believe it? Turning colder this weekend. Kate.
Thanks very much indeed. Thank you. Now, all morning we've been showing you this extraordinary footage of a poor bride freaking out about a very bad hair day just before her wedding. Now, it's got us all talking this morning. We've had loads of texts and emails. Before we have a look at that, let's just remind ourselves about how funny it is. Let's have a look.
Here she comes! Oh my God. Jody? No! Jody, what's wrong? Jody? What is wrong? It looks so bad! Whoa, whoa, oh my God! Look at my hair! Look what she did! It looks fine! There's nothing wrong with it! Jess, it looks great! Are you kidding me? Okay, it looks cute. It looks like Shirley Temple or something. I would tell you. We're not keeping it this way. We're not keeping it this way. Can you put away the... It's okay. I wanted to have shorter hair anyway for a while. Look like a boy. You don't look like a boy. I can't get married like that. Yes, you can. Look at how cool I'm so embarrassed. That looks wicked. Oh my God, this is not crazy. Okay, Jody. Why did I cut my hair? Why did you let me cut my hair? You'll look back on this and laugh one day. Yeah, it's not that bad. No. See? I hate my hair! Okay. Okay. No. Get back!
Oh no, poor thing. It's awful, isn't it? Now we're joined now by celebrity lifestyle expert and wedding planner Nick Eade and celebrity hairdresser Beverly C. Good to see both of you this morning. Morning. Now let's assume it's true, because I mean you could argue it might be a bit of a stunt. Convincing one if it is true, but let's assume it's true. Have you ever known somebody to freak out on their wedding day about the hair?
I've met a lot of women that have freaked out on their wedding days. I think that's really extreme, and I've never heard of anyone doing that. But they have, because you know what? They don't plan it properly. They have something done to their hair that doesn't suit them. They've not planned it. It doesn't look right. They're looking at someone very strange in the mirror. So planning is the key, and it's a very emotional day.
Is it a full rehearsal you need with the hair?
Totally.
Full, so get the whole thing done, but it is expensive.
Isn't it?
It's expensive, but I think it's a full rehearsal, not just the hair, but actually putting on the dress as well. Because, you know, you can have an amazing hairdo and be wearing jeans and a T-shirt and look a bit strange, but when you've got the whole ensemble, then you actually might look a little bit better and different.
Hey, listen, we've had lots of texts and emails from people as well. I grew my hair years ago, so I could have a demi-wave on my wedding day, a demi-wave perm on my wedding day, so that I would look like George Michael when he was in Wham. It all went wrong.
Well, there's something to aim at.
I know, exactly. This is a while back, I assume. It all went wrong, and I ended up looking like Ronald McDonald on my wedding day, which is not a good thing to do at all.
My husband was going on a stag night, decided to use an electric trimmer. It was on the wrong setting and left a bald spot. He had to use shoe polish to try to hide it. So it's men as well as women.
It's not just your wedding day that you can have hair disasters. This is Sybil Shepherd when she appeared on Gmtv a while back. Have a look at this.
So do you want to see jet-lag hair?
Yeah, go on.
All right, fine.
That's good. That's nice that you dressed up for the occasion.
My goodness. And when she took the band out, let me tell you, it was even more dramatic. So, you know, if you do find yourself in a crisis situation, it's your big day, whether it be wedding day or a special occasion, what's the best thing to do to rectify the damage? Go on, you first.
Well, hair-wise, you can really take it out, start again and do it yourself. Everyone can do their own hair. And it's like, you know, these emails, I decided to have a perm on my wedding day.
No.
Just don't do that. So you have to give yourself extra time in case something goes wrong, and you can put it right.
Yeah. I think your wedding day has to be the safest day. You know, in the end, the prospective husband or wife is actually marrying you for you, not for this sort of doll or freak that's going to come down the aisle because you decided you're going to change your makeup or put some shake your hair.
You don't want to set too high standards, do you? Because you're just going to have to keep it going for the rest of your married life. So maybe sort of starting off with a disaster is no bad thing.
Exactly, and I think you need to also keep away the scissors.
And having fine professionals in the corner, holding hands and going, it's going to be fine. That helps. We've got two fine professionals there.
Chaps.
Thank you so much. We've got a pretty decent professional coming up on the other side of the studio now. Her name is Lorraine Kelly.
See you tomorrow.
Gone fishing. You know. But there's a sign.
Kingsmill Head Start with Omega-3. Sponsor of LK Today.
Now then, the Duchess of Cornwall may have been sporting $1 million diamond necklace recently. It's a lot of bling. But what about $1 million diamond facial? We sent Melinda Messenger to find out more about this new phenomenon. And if your children don't understand the concept of money, Martin Lewis is here with some really good tips. Also, New York is gearing up for Fashion Week. It all kicks off tomorrow. We'll be talking to an industry insider to find out what is going on. And why we should be buying beachwear and summer frocks right now, even though we're still in the middle of winter. Mark Hayes reveals his must-haves that are in the shops now, but will be gone by spring. First, though, Mark Addy is a very successful actor, both sides of the Atlantic. Lucky for us, though, he's back on British TV, starring in a new series called Bonkers, along with Lisa Tarbuck. He joins me in just a minute. First, though, let's have a look at this new series.
We've been married for 20 years. Can you believe it?
Hate parties.
No, you don't.
What if nobody comes?
I'll have to eat it all. Anyway, people will come. Claire and Freddie are coming up from Brighton.
Oh,
and Marcus is coming. And Imelda might or might not come. But Debbie and John are coming. And Tim.
Why? Has he run out of money?
No.
You miserable git.
He's coming because it's his parents' 20th wedding anniversary and he wants to celebrate it with us.
Did you just call me a miserable git?
No.
That looks really good fun. I'm joined by Mark now. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks.
Great
How are you?
to see you. I've seen lots of clips of this and it looks really funny and good.
Yeah, it's terrific writing. Sally Wainwright wrote it. He wrote Home with the Braithwaites and Amazing Mrs. Pritchard. So the writing's great for a kick-off, which is terrific. And it's got some great people in it. It was great working with Lisa,
She's good, huh?
Yeah, and we were at drama school at the same time. We've known each other 23 years.
So you've got that connection already. So
yeah,
it
helps. Yeah, it helps
that's
in a
for
big
sure.
way.
So Bonkers. Tell me about the poor miserable git, as he was called there. So she said that in her mind and he knew what she was thinking.
It's a couple who have been married 20 years, and I suppose in a way it's about midlife crisis, but with a sense of humour. And my character Tony is a writer for Jubilee Terrace, a soap, and he's been doing that 15 years, and he's really kind of all his ideas have gone.
Right.
He's reached a point in his life where he needs a new kind of lease of life, if you like, and unfortunately discovers it in the arms of a 19-year-old.
Oh dear.
So it's problematic in that. I mean, the great thing about it from an actor's point of view is normally what would be the ultimate episode of a series, the 20th wedding anniversary where everything falls apart, is the first episode. So we're taking that as the starting point and going on from there.
Yeah, that's good.
It's a different show. It's
I
really
look
good.
forward to that. So on tonight, 9 o'clock, ITV1, looking forward to that. I'll tell you what shocked me. I can't remember, because obviously I think the big thing for you, you've done lots of work beforehand, but how we got to know you was the Film Monty. We got to know all of you in the Film Monty.
Apologies.
10 years ago. I can't believe that. That's extraordinary.
It's a long time ago, yeah, and I'm in the process of expanding as the years go by.
No, I'll tell you what though, you've done incredibly well. The amount of work you've done in Hollywood, you've done that thing of being based here but still going over there and working over there on loads of different films.
Yeah, I've sort of been lucky in that I was over there really publicising the Full Monty when it came out. And that led to, you know, a series of jobs purely by fluke, if you know what I mean. I happened to be in the right place at the right time, and I had no intention of, you know, trying to make a go of it over there. Work was just offered me, and
fantastic.
I thought I'll take the
Well,
opportunity.
it's partly being in the right place at the right time, but obviously you've got to be able to do it, which you can, which you proved you can. I really loved A Knight's Tale. That was a super film, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I know that you've worked with Heath Ledger and the director of that movie. You worked with him again. Clearly, that was a partnership that worked.
Yeah, it was a great. Brian Helgeland, who wrote and directed that, got us on board for another movie called The Order, which was a very different kind of film, but great working. You know, if you get the opportunity to work with people that you know and that you like and respect, then it just makes life a lot easier.
It absolutely does. And the sitcom as well, because you were cast in the main role of an American sitcom, which is one of these things that could last for a couple of episodes, but it lasted for 4 years.
Yeah,
which is rather nice.
I was asked if I wanted to go and shoot a pilot episode that'll take 11 days. Over in the States.
You think, oh, well, OK then.
4 years later, we were still 88 episodes.
I know. We've still to see it over here. I don't think we've seen it yet, have we?
It's showing on a cable network called Trouble.
Oh, kind of
so
Trouble,
it's good. It's around.
And you were American in that?
I was, Chicago Dad.
Brilliant. That's fantastic. So now, I mean, now you're more based here now with the family.
Yeah, I'm
and then
back now.
as jobs come, you'll go over there, should you have to.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. There's no, like I say, I don't have any firm plans, so it's you know, whatever the work is. That's the nature of you know, Rogues.
But you've been very lucky, because you have worked a lot. I mean, and still managed to fit in 3 kids along the way.
Yeah, I don't know quite how that happened,
That was
but yeah, no, there was time for that.
That was
great. Yeah, that's nice.
And are any of the children showing any signs of following Daddy? Are they still too young?
They're still a little bit too young, and I've got to be honest, I'm not really encouraging them to go down the same road.
Do you know, it's funny how most actors say that. Say, no, they can be lawyers,
really,
accountants,
proper job.
yeah, proper real jobs, proper true jobs.
Well, because we know how kind of tough it is.
For sure.
Some of us are lucky, some of us aren't so lucky, but there's always periods of unemployment. You never know where the next job's coming.
You don't. You're absolutely right. You don't, and then nobody sets out to make anything bad, and sometimes it doesn't work, and then sometimes a movie you think, oh, that was okay, just does incredibly well.
Yeah.
You just don't know. I do think Bonkers is going to be good though. I'm really looking forward to it. As I said, that's tonight, 9 o'clock. And is it the kind of series, does it come to an end, or could we maybe get more if it works?
Things are not tied up totally. There is a hopeful, optimistic ending to it. But I think there's certainly room for more.
Excellent. Marcus, great to see you.
And you.
Really good to see you. Thanks so much for coming in. I look forward to seeing that tonight. Thank you. Right, it's competition time now. Your chance to win £20,000 by the end of the show. Jonathan Coleman has all the details.
G'day folks, it's Jonathan Coleman here by the banks of the beautiful Sydney Harbour, bringing a bit of sunshine into your lives and giving you the chance to win £20,000 by the end of today's show if you can demonstrate your knowledge of things down under. See if you can answer this question. What's the name of the reality show set in an Australian jungle? Is it A, Big Brother, B, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, or C, Pop Idol? You can dial 090 68 100 100. That's 090 68 100 100, or text A, B or C as your answer, plus your full name and address to 81149. Or you can enter via the website, either online or on your mobile.
Thank you, Jono. Excellent. Remember, lines close at 9, and obviously, as usual, we'll give you the winner before the end of the show. Still to come, can Melinda Messenger add some sparkle to her life? She road tests a diamond facial for us. Hi there, still to come this morning. Fashion Week hits New York. Tomorrow, that is. Will it be the clothes making the headlines this season rather than the models or the celebs? We'll find out. We're going to speak to an industry insider in just a minute. First, though, 17,000 women in the UK are diagnosed with cervical cancer each year, yet almost 1/3 of women ignore their invitations to attend a free smear test. They just don't go. By doing so, doctors are warning women are gambling with their health. One woman who knows this only too well is Zoe Ruddock. She joins me now, along with Dr. Hilary. Zoe, it's great to see you.
Thank you.
Really good to see you. Did you go for your smear test pretty regularly?
Yes, I was really good. Actually, I lived in Australia for a while, and you go and have them every 2 years.
Right.
So I was always pretty careful about going, and actually I came back to England, didn't have one for a couple of years, and then was getting married, trying for a baby, so I thought I'd go and have one as a health check.
Right, okay, because that's the thing, you can kind of slip through the net sometimes.
Exactly,
in your case.
yeah.
When you went, was that when you found out that there was something wrong?
No, I had a smear and everything went fine. I had a letter to say that I had abnormal smears, abnormal cells, but it wasn't cancer. Then went for a coloscopy, which is another checkup. Sure. Had that just after our honeymoon. And then that's when they found something, and within 2 weeks of that I was told that I had cancer.
Being told that is just devastating, isn't it? I mean, you are embarking on married life, you've got, you know, everything's looking great.
Yes.
It should be a time of great optimism and hope, and then wham.
Yeah, you hear the C word and everything goes into a fog, and everything changes.
What was the treatment like?
Well, I had surgery. I had pretty major surgery, and then had a sort of recovery period. And then, unfortunately, I had to have radiotherapy and chemo as well.
Right.
So that was probably the worst part of it, was because it affects your body so radically, especially around the pelvic region.
No, exactly. And of course, sadly, this has meant that you won't be able to have children.
No, we can't have.
You can't. And that, again, that must be something you and your husband must have had to face up to and talk about.
Yeah, and it's a big, you know, it's always a big subject. And we did actually talk about it before we got married. We said, you know, what happens if something happens? And
that's very good you had that talk.
Yeah, I think it's an important one. And I mean, now we obviously got to reassess things and reassess what I want to do for work as well. And we'll hopefully try and adopt in a few years. We'll just see what happens.
Yeah, you've got time. You know, just sort of take your time and see how it goes. So does that mean, because of all the treatment you had, does that mean an early menopause would happen then?
Yes.
Ah, right.
Yes, yes. So now I'm dealing with hot flushes and HRT and
very early, actually, very
yeah.
early, which is difficult. But this whole campaign that's starting now is really you've got to. The thing is, if you hadn't had that smear test, you might not be sitting here today.
No, exactly. It's really important that women have smears. I mean, I think we spend so much time looking after everybody else that sometimes we forget to have these little things. And let's face it, it's not the most dignified test in the world.
No, nobody wakes up and says, yippee, I'm having my smear test today.
Exactly. Yeah. But, you know, you've got to just lie back and sort of think of something pleasant.
It's over in a second. It's over in a
Exactly.
second, and, you know, that's the way you've got to look at it. So, Hilary, this is good that we're talking about this, and it's great that the campaign, it's the wellbeing campaign that started.
It's really important. I mean, look, in 1988, when the cervical smear campaign was launched, we had 6,000 women dying from cervical cancer, and it's been brought it down to 1,000.
It's fantastic.
But now we've become complacent.
Yeah.
So 30% of women aged 25 to 29 are not going to have their smears done, and smears saves lives. They save lives, and yeah, nobody wants to have one done, but it takes 5 minutes.
Yeah,
you know, it's usually done by the nurse.
Sure.
It's really quick to do. You get the results. Now, if it shows abnormal smears, it doesn't mean you've got cancer. It means you've got early changes. And, you know, what we know right now is that there are 1,300 fewer women in that age group every week having smears than 10 years ago.
Why is that? Why is that happening?
Well,
I mean, you said complacency. Do you think?
Yeah, I think there's a degree of complacency because in countries that haven't had screening, they're doing more.
Right.
In countries where we've had screening, they're doing less. And I think it's because we hear less about it.
Yes,
because fewer women are now
Do you know,
dying.
You're absolutely right. Because we used to talk about, remember years ago on TVAM, we used to talk about this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We hear a lot about breast cancer. That's very much at the forefront
sure.
of what's in our awareness, but less about cervical cancer. But, you know, it can affect anyone who's ever been sexually active. And if you have a smear done and you find abnormal cells, it can be treated so easily.
Yeah.
And so...
And the quicker it's like everything else, isn't it? The quicker you get it, the better.
Absolutely.
And also, I mean, I remember a few years ago, there seemed to be this appalling stigma about it, as if somebody who had lots of sexual partners, and
Which
that's
is not the case.
absolutely not true
Absolutely
at
not
all.
the case.
It's
No.
not.
No, that's really, we've got to nail
You can
that
have
one.
just one
not
partner,
right.
you know, and the virus, the human papillomavirus, which leads to most cases of cervical cancer. You know, there are many different strains of them. Yes, we've got a vaccine that's soon to become available.
That's right. Aren't they going to be vaccinating young girls?
Well, there's talk about it, and whether it'll be available on the NHS or not, and for which sort of groups, but we don't know yet. Yes, it's available. It won't protect against all the strains, so women will still need to have smears done. So that's a really important
So
thing.
again, even with all of this happening, that might make you feel a little bit complacent, but you mustn't.
That's right. Now, this campaign's a really good one. It's actually called the Lowdown on Down There campaign.
I like
which
that.
I didn't think
I think that's really good.
And
The Lowdown on Down There.
That's it. And it's the Wellbeing of Women campaign. And there are some key messages which I think are really important. I mean, first of all, know what's normal for you. Know about any changes occurring in your body.
Sure.
Suppose you've got some bleeding between periods, any bloating for unexplained reasons, or any abnormal discharge. And then regularly attend for screening. That's really important. Be aware of the symptoms of gynecological cancers. Seek medical attention if you notice anything.
Right.
And if you're not happy with what is being explained or what you find, then go for a second opinion. Be assertive. That can save lives as well. And don't be afraid. You know, if you catch it early, you can have it treated, and it really isn't the stigma it once was.
No.
I mean, Zoe has been through it. She's alive today because of cervical smears.
Exactly, absolutely. Zoe, thank you.
It's a
great
pleasure.
to see you. Thank you so much indeed. And thank you, Hilary. And if you are worried at all about cervical cancer, you want to know a little bit more about it, you find lots of information on the website Gm.tv. There's lots of help and good advice there. Thank you both. Now then, with the Oscars only a few weeks away, the nominees have been invited to indulge in the ultimate in pampering, $1 million diamond facial, would you believe? No excuse not to sparkle, I suppose, on the red carpet. Well, it's happening over in America, but Melinda Messenger, she got a sneaky preview of this over here.
Kiss on the hand may be quite continental, but diamonds are a girl's best friend.
Diamonds have always been a girl's best friend, and we all know that celebrities are partial to a little bit of bling. And you can't get more bling than the ultimate star indulgence, the $1 million facial. Last year, these lovely ladies, Keira Knightley, Sienna Miller and Terry Hatcher, all shone on Oscar night, all thanks to this facial. And rumour has it, Nicole Richie, Lindsay Lohan and Misha Barton are all having this exclusive treatment done in LA. And now it's my turn.
We put these diamonds exactly in the chakras in the body, because people who believe in stones, they think that diamonds rebalance the energy, and of course if you rebalance the energy, your skin looks much more beautiful.
With the recent uproar about unethical diamonds, I'm relieved to know that these are non-conflict gems.
There is available a diamond experience in UK. Of course, we are not using the real diamonds to do the treatment, but the cost is around £160.
Wow, what can I say? I feel like $1 million. I think I'm going to float home now.
Thank you, Melinda. Very expensive. That's what they'll all be doing to get ready for the Oscars. right now for days and days, all getting ready for it. Now, New York's Fashion Week kicks off tomorrow. Joining me now is America's Marie Claire fashion editor, Sana Roberts, with a bit of an insider's guide. Sana, great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now, what do you reckon? Ah, it's good to see you. What kind of fashion shows do you think are going to be making the headlines this year? What do you think?
I think there's going to be a big hoo-ha about the Naeem Khan. He is the designer who designed the dresses for Beyonce and Jennifer Hudson in the Dreamgirls. Wow. Also, Proenza Schuyler is always a big hit with the fashion crowd. They're two guys young guys, mid-20s, and big fan, you know, they've got the Olsen twins who follow them, Kirsten Dunst. A lot of the It girls are big fans of theirs, so I'll be fighting for my front row seat there. Ah,
that looks quite kind of hippie almost, you know, the long skirts and all of that. That looks really, and as you say, quite young. You can see why the youngsters are going for that one. Now, what about the latest must-haves? What's everybody be going to putting their eye on, sort of accessory-wise?
Accessory-wise, I think headgear is going to make a follow-through from spring-summer. It was a big hit there with headbands and hats, and purely from a practical level, winter always features lots of headgear, which is great for us.
Exactly, because freezing over there, I bet you. Really cold.
Especially here,
really cold in New York, I'm sure. Yeah. Now, of course, everybody, you know, they're looking at the clothes, they're looking at the accessories, the makeup, the hair, all of that. But there's an awful lot of attention on who actually turns up, you know, who sits in those front row seats. What sort of celebs are expected to attend?
Well, last year we saw the likes of Victoria Beckham, Demi, Ashton Kutcher, Kirsten Dunst, Sienna Miller. I mean, there's trillions. I think New York Fashion Week is a bit more glamorous than any of the others, purely because maybe it's after the award ceremony in Hollywood, it's the first week, and the after parties are chocker with celebrities, more so than the front rows.
I saw Donald Trump there. We were just seeing some shots of last year. Donald Trump, what's he doing? What's he doing there, for goodness sake?
Most glamorous guest there, I think, yeah.
He's a bit of a fashion disaster. It's quite strange. Maybe he was getting some tips.
It's everywhere.
Yeah, maybe he was getting some tips. With his funny hair.
Yeah, some backstage hair and makeup.
I'll bet. So this is obviously an exciting time, you know, for someone in a job like yourself, because this is really where you're going to see what's going to be next.
Exactly, yeah, this is where we take the looks from the catwalk and then edit them down, and then they're the ones you see on the pages of Marie Claire and all the other magazines.
Absolutely. Sana, loads and loads of in the press about London Fashion Week, and again, you know, from various fashionistas, but in London, they're not going to ban size 0 models. They're not actually going to do that. I know they have done that in other parts of the world. What's the take on it in New York? What do they think about that? Is it something that people are talking about?
Absolutely, it's a hot topic. I think it will always has been and always will be a hot topic. The US Designers Association have joined the board, speaking about it with France and the UK. They've stopped short of actually banning girls with a BMI of 18. However, they are creating awareness, and any awareness is good awareness.
No, absolutely. I mean, I was watching CNN actually this week with Larry King a couple of days ago, and he was talking to Tyra Banks. And Tyra, who has got to be one of the most stunning women in the world, was kind of defending the fact that people are saying that she's put weight on, and she looks beautiful. I mean, it's insane, isn't it? It's just crazy.
Yeah, well, standards are, maybe they're getting skinnier and skinnier, but hopefully this will be a turnaround now, the awareness and the conversations are intensifying, so hopefully.
Good. Well, at least people are talking about it, which they weren't before, so that's fantastic. Yeah. Sana, thank you very much indeed for talking to us from New York. I'd love to talk to you. I'll talk to you soon, and enjoy New York Fashion Week.
Thank you. I will.
Thank you. Even though Donald Trump will be there, but you can't have everything, can you? Now, how often do we hear ourselves saying that our kids don't appreciate the value of money? They just don't know the value of a pound. It doesn't have to be like that. Martin Lewis is here to try and change it all with some really simple techniques. I think this is really true about kids and money, don't you?
Well, do you remember we were doing Debt Week a couple of weeks ago, and we started talking about this? There's not much financial education in our schools. And what really worries me, we are the debt man of Europe. And if our £1.3 trillion of debt in this country, And if we don't break the cycle of our children actually starting to become responsible consumers and understand money, we've had it.
No, you're
we've had
absolutely
it.
right.
I mean, this is a huge issue. We might almost have to give up with the current generation. I won't just yet, but, you know, let's make sure that kids really understand how money works.
Sure. How can we do that? How can we educate them?
Well, I've sat very hard and thinking, what would I tell young kids? I've got a little sister. I've been talking to her about it. She's 12 now. But I came up with 4 key messages that you should teach your kids. The first one, and by far the most important, is actually a company's job is to make money.
Right.
It's as simple as that. Many people don't get this. And as soon as you realise that, you start to make the right decision. So this is what I do. I take your child to the supermarket. And when you're in the beginning of the supermarket, ask them what they can smell. Bread. I can smell bread. And then point how far away the bread counter is, and you realise that they're pumping in a bread smell to make you hungry so that you'll buy more in the supermarket.
So on the way to the bread, you're
exactly. So you're feeling hungry. And then say, I want you to spot as many different ways as they try and make us spend our money as you possibly can. The reason there are sweeties by the till is so you don't forget to ask me to buy. And have that as a game with them. Start to make them think about, oh, look, they're trying to make us spend money because that's their job.
Yeah.
So that's the first one.
Okay.
The next one is the interest rate one. Save money and you get paid. If you tell them, you put your money in a bank account, and because the bank then gets to use your money so it can make money, it will pay you some money for looking after it, and that is called interest. So if you put your money in the bank, you're going to earn a little bit more, and if you put £100 in when you're 8, that will probably in a good bank account be worth £160 when you're 18.
Which is rather nice.
Exactly.
Makes
and
sense. Right.
all bank accounts aren't the same, so make sure you choose the one who's going to give you the most for looking after your money. Number 3, really important one for everybody, and some of these subtly don't just work for kids, Lorraine.
Okay.
And input, try before you buy. You might think a toy is fantastic, it's exactly what I want, it's going to be really, really exciting. But once you get it, you'll be disappointed. So if you want to buy a game or a CD, why not go to the rental shop or the library or try it out or go in the store and really think if it's actually what you want, because once you've spent it, you've got it.
It's away.
And the final one is ask the question, is it worth it? In economics, this is actually called opportunity cost. But what you tell your kids is, look, you want that big £50 toy, but if you have that big £50 toy, you can't have 10 £5 toys. Which will you enjoy more? I did this with a friend of mine when we were shopping for boots once, and she wasn't a child, and we sat there and she had a choice between 2 boots. One cost 80 quid and one cost 30 quid. And then she said, I'm not sure which to have, so I quickly ran to the bank. I got 50 quid out in cash. I picked up the 30 quid pair of boots, held the £50 and said, that's your choice, £30 and 50 quid in cash or £80. Understand the choice you're making. So I think those 4 lessons together, really good
and
for
that's,
kids.
as you say, you know, sort of 12, 13-ish. What
Well,
about...
maybe even younger, actually.
Yeah, what about when they get to teenagers, though? What do you think?
2 big tips there. The first one is if you're buying anything for them, whether it's a mobile phone or a computer or a games console, involve them with the consumer decision. Don't just buy it, say, you need to find the best deal.
Right.
I'm going to give it you if you get the best deal. You know, even if it's a pay-as-you-go mobile, don't fall for the flashy phone. Look at the tariff you're going to be on because you can make more calls. And actually really engage them in that process. If they prove that they're doing it right, then afterwards, say you've got them a pay-as-you-go mobile because you don't trust them on a contract. If you do it right for a year, you've picked the right one and you stay within your budget, after a year I'll get you a contract which will be cheaper for both of us. But don't just say, yes, you can have it. OK, you want a Wii now. That's the sex, the Nintendo Wii, the games console.
You meant the Wii. Say, OK. Oh, yeah, the Wii. Yeah,
so you want a Wii, double R. You want a Wii now, right, you find me the cheapest one out there. Don't say I'll buy it for you. You get me one under this amount of money.
We're so guilty of spoiling them rotten, aren't we?
And at least make them do the work. And actually, this step, you can step this up, because once they're 14 or 15, they're probably savvier with the internet than you are.
Oh, absolutely.
So actually, what you say then is, all right, I want to engage you in all the processes, whether it's gas and electricity, getting the cheapest, or car insurance, home insurance, even bank charge reclaiming. All of these are internet things. So say to them, I want your help. You're going to help me on the net.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
And then you say to them, if you save me money on gas and electricity, I'll give you 5% of what you saved me.
That's a good incentive.
Isn't that a good incentive? Car insurance, I'll give you 5%.
Absolutely.
So I put all articles how to do that. Sit on the web, on your website. Sit down with your kids and engage them in what you do. Really do. Make them part of the family finances and the budget.
No, and you're right, because they don't get it at school, unfortunately, which means that most of us aren't all that well educated on money, but you can actually...
This way, they help you, you help them, they get a bit of money, and they start to learn the real differences, how you can gain from being better with money and better with cash.
Fantastic. Thank you. We'll stick it on the website, as we always do. Thank you very much, Martin.
My pleasure.
Great. Thank you. Right, time for a very quick break now. When we get back, well, the fashion industry moves in mysterious ways. It might be kind of cold and chilly and miserable outside, but Mark Hayes explains why now is the time to buy his spring must-haves. See you in a few minutes. Hello there, welcome back. Still to come, Mark Hayes is here. His fashion radar has been scanning the new collections to bring us his high street must-haves. He's going to be talking to me in just a moment. First though, time to find out who's the lucky winner of today's competition, that cheque for £20,000. All this morning we've been asking you, what's the name of the reality show set in an Australian jungle? The answer, of course, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. You knew that. The winner's been selected at random from all the correct entries, so who won today?
Lorraine, today's lucky winner is Mark Holmes, who's from Beverley.
There we are. Congratulations to you. Enjoy spending that money. Now, it might still be cold and grey and a bit miserable outside, but the spring-summer collections are already hitting the high street. Mark Hayes is here with what you should buy now and wear later. So I have noticed in the shops that there are things like bikinis and skimpies, and you sort of think, hang on a minute, but you know, you've got to buy them now, they'll all be away.
It's called Planet Fashion. That's what it's just out there.
It's crazy.
That's the thing, you've got spring summer stuff on sale in February. You've got, you know, autumn winter on sale in August. I know. It's basic. Do you know what? It's because as a nation, we love our fashion, and we want, you know, we're people who actually notice what's happening in the catwalks, and we want a bit of it now. Okay,
right.
so
don't want to wait.
And the high street are fantastic at kind of, you know, they interpret that and they get it out there. So you know, the thing is you've got these high summer pieces already in store that are going to sell out instantly. Okay. So if you do want to get them, you're going to have to buy them now.
Put them in the cupboard.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
You won't be wearing them fair enough until June, but it doesn't matter.
Best to have them, will all be a bit. So what kind of things are we looking for? What's the trends?
Well, I mean, starting off, we've got an amazing maxi dress. I'll bring out our first model with Andy.
This sort of long hippy dippy type
thing. Maxi dress are all over the place.
That's beautiful.
This is a cracker. But do you see what I mean about this is high summer? This is serious high summer, okay?
It is.
I mean, I was thinking, could you get away maybe with wearing a T-shirt or something?
No.
In all honesty, it's got to be warm with that.
That's for your holidays, walking down a beach.
It is.
Even in your bare feet or a little pair of flip-flops.
I would say April. Do you know what I'd love to see over that? A little nipped-in denim jacket. You know, a little vintage one.
Yeah.
I think that would look beautiful.
It's very cute, that.
So we've got an awful lot of these about. Now, this is from Miss Selfridge. It comes in at £45 to that one there. So a good price as well.
Quite forgiving as well, with it coming from under the bust.
Absolutely, yeah.
You could be anything under there, couldn't you?
You could be. You could hide a multitude of things. Perfect for the beginning of the summer, absolutely. Cheers, Andy, that's lovely.
That's lovely.
Thank you.
Very pretty.
Now, next up, we've got our first swimsuit kind of thing going on, I tell you. All right.
Oh, I like that over top, though.
It's lovely, isn't it? Okay.
Don't know what you call that.
This is from Debenhams, okay? It's by Melissa Oderbash, okay? Now, Melissa Oderbash is a swimwear designer who literally everybody has. Her client list is ridiculous. Cindy Crawford, Jemima Khan, Elle Macpherson, J-Lo, Beyonce, you name them. They've all got them, okay?
Right.
Now, she's done a range of Debenhams. She's done 8 different pieces, okay? The caftan here comes in at £35, and underneath a beautiful brown swimsuit at £34. Beautiful detailing there on the bust as well.
Do you know what? That's really pretty, and you could wear that at night on your holidays.
Absolutely.
Easily peasily.
So many different ways of wearing it.
That's really cute.
And these are the type of things she's only done. It's got that lovely piece here. Isn't it gorgeous? Isn't it pretty?
Lovely.
Yeah, very, very nice. As I said, 8 pieces. It's going to sell out instantly. It's coming into store pretty much today, so keep your eye out.
Be there waiting for it and grab it, and it's not a bad price either.
It's brilliant, isn't it? You know, for a design, a designer that all the celebs are after, you can get hold of. Thank you. Cheers, Debbie.
Lovely.
Next up, we've got Nesh in a fantastic little kind of tiny dress, but worn with jeans. I think this looks fantastic.
Yeah, as a dress, maybe a bit.
As a dress, a wee bit too short.
Yeah.
This is from Principles, £49. So the reason I went with this on Nesh is, do you remember when she was wearing the other week the little dress from Oasis with that band underneath her bust?
Yes.
I think as long as it's not got too much fabric down at the bottom, it's actually very forgiving, and this reminded me of it. I thought it was a great top. And as I said, £49. It's got a kind of Poochie went and did an awful lot of those kind of shaped tops and dresses, so it's got that kind of designer influence as well.
That's cute.
Thanks, Nesh. Cheers, darling. So I don't know if this is a bit in your face, this one.
Okay.
Maybe a wee bit. It's
Wow, where's my specs? I need my dark glasses.
Don't adjust your TV sets, it's all right.
That's quite kind of 70s.
It is,
yeah.
it is. I'm thinking Eutha Joyce and Georgia Mildred.
Eutha. A
That's
legend.
I tell you, an absolute legend. That and a feather boa. Happy days.
Should be there.
Happy days. Okay, $34.99 from H&M.
That's not bad.
You've got to give H&M, you know, credit where credit's due. They go for it.
They sure do.
Miu Miu did something very similar.
It does look very designer,
doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's so in your face.
Yeah.
You kind of think, no, a high street store wouldn't do that, but they have. And I think, you know, if you've got the get up and go to wear it.
Do you know what? If you've got a great figure, a bit of a tan,
it's look
summer
fantastic.
holidays, why not?
That's the thing. It'd be perfect for your summer holidays. Thank you very much.
You.
Cheers, Dan. Okay, next up we've got Andy. It's a dress from Mango this week.
Oh, that's lovely. That's so 60s. And that's kind of twiggy.
It is, isn't
it?
And you know, we've spoken about this 60s influence all over the place. It's a major theme for the season.
Cute.
We saw Lonvin use these kind of colours on the catwalk as well. So, and I think it's beautiful. I love that colour picked with like cobalt blue.
It reminds me of. Do you remember Mia Farrow and Rosemary's Baby?
God, yeah.
And she wore wee maternity dresses like that when she was carrying the devil child.
If only she knew. If only she knew.
I like that a lot.
It's a great. It's
fantastic.
A brilliant dress, and I think I think that's something you could possibly wear now. As you know, we put it with the black tie.
Yeah, the thick ones.
Get away with it.
Lovely, thank you.
Cheers, darling. That's lovely.
Cute.
Next up, we've got Sasha in quite an amazing dress.
This is very different.
Is this not amazing?
It's reminding me of. It's very different.
I just think it looks like you would pay an absolute fortune for it. This is from Topshop Unique range, okay?
That's a good one.
Comes in at £90. What you've got to remember about Topshop Unique is, for as much as this is quite similar to Stella McCartney, they are their own designers, okay?
Right.
And you'll see, what I love about it is the fact that in Vogue, it's next to Stella McCartney, it's next to Balenciaga, and it's a designer name as far as they're concerned.
Absolutely.
But instead of it having an extra £800, it's £90.
Yeah.
And, you know, that is going to sell out instantly. I think
that's quite Russian.
Beautiful dress, absolutely amazing.
Like Cossacky. I like that a lot.
Just came in, so honestly, you'll need to get
that'll
that.
be flying out
If you
shows.
can't get Topshop Unique in your own Topshop, you can get it online as well.
Okay,
So
that's good to know. Thank you, my love.
Cheers, sweets.
Beautiful.
Okay, next up we've got Nesh.
Oh, this is nice.
Very sweet tunic dress. Okay,
It's
now
lovely.
this is from Marks and Spencer's limited collection.
Nice. It's lovely. Yeah.
And again, I think these tunic dresses can be very flattering. This one doesn't seem to stick as well. You know, the way some of them can be very staticky. This seems to just have a bit more weight in the fabric. And also that belt just tied around there, especially on a slant, is always more flattering. And I think it looks great on Nesh.
That's lovely.
It's brilliant.
Good price too.
It's brilliant, isn't it? £39. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you, sweetheart. Okay, then. Next, we've got Rona. In this
I see. We're doing a bit of line dancing.
Yeah, exactly. It's got that element, hasn't it? Okay, now this is from a company called Religion. Now, you can get this online. Religion is a real favourite with celebrities, okay?
Right.
They all seem to be in it. Keira Knightley's a big fan. They're all, they've all got hold of it, but it's reasonable prices. So it's £45 for this shirt. Now, I was chatting to the company, and basically every store that sells their stock have ordered in loads of these. It's going to be a massive seller. So I do think, I know that things that we've put on here before from Religion have sold out instantly. So if you want it, you are going to have to go and get it.
I actually really like that. With jeans, it's lovely. And if you wanted a little white top underneath it or whatever,
and it's
really cute.
quite sexy.
It's lovely. If you unbutton it enough.
Yeah, she's got a rare cleavage on it there, I have to say. Very nice.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mark, thank you.
Oh, my pleasure.
That was a romp through, so buy them now.
Get them now.
Because they're going to be away. Don't wait till the summer, because they'll be gone, because in the summer they'll be selling jumpers.
Exactly. Crazy.
That's it for me this week, but joining the Entertainment Today team tomorrow, Tony Hadley and Mika, who's going to be performing his #1 hit, Grace Kelly, which I love. It's like Freddie Mercury. I absolutely love it. So that's not to be missed. I'll be watching, and I'll see you Monday. Bye-bye.
Gone fishing. You know. But there's a sign.
Kingsmill Head Start with Omega 3. Sponsor of LK Today.